Welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Friday. Thanks for spending it with us. Coming up here in just a little bit, these storms and the rain now and the flooding has been the huge story here across the state of Indiana. And the region has really gotten a lot of attention on that because of the tornadoes, etc. But there is some severe, very serious flooding going on in east central Indiana. And roads are damaged. People can't get out of their homes. Neighborhoods are underwater. It's a really serious deal with all the attention of the region. Not that it doesn't deserve it, but East Central Indiana kind of hasn't gotten the coverage it probably deserves. And so Jeremiah Morrill, podcaster, host of the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast, has been able to get to a studio where he could record with us. He's from Newcastle, and we're going to talk about here in a little bit the damage that has been done in East Central Indiana. Guys, it is unbelievable. We're talking it's going to take months, if not years, for some of this to recover. It is simply amazing. So Jeremiah Morrill going to join us coming up here in just a little bit to talk about the damage that has been done by the flooding in East Central Indiana. But first, guys, our politicians have set such a low bar for themselves that on Wednesday, a U.S. senator and a state rep both shared ridiculously false information from some random guy on the internet who's previously been wrong before, involving billions of taxpayer dollars. And that was so unsurprising. I mean, the bar has been set so low. A state rep here in Indiana and a U.S. senator shared a post from a random guy on the internet about information that anybody that knew anything about the subject knew it was not right, knew it was false. And the bar has been set so low, and it was so unsurprising they did that, no one said a word. And these two guys haven't said a word. It's just standard operating procedure now. Now, the hilarious thing is one of them bitches about the fake news all the time. One of those guys, right? This is what Jim Banks, U.S. Senator, and Andrew Ireland brought into and shared to the public. Now, guys, this is a big deal. Not because a politician didn't know their head from their ass. Didn't know what was going on. Like, that happens all the time. But this is such horrible judgment, a lack of critical thinking, a lack of any investigative skills on full display. And it should be a smack right between the eyes. These are the people that make choices for you. The same lack of judgment, critical thinking, and investigative skills are the skills or lack thereof that they are using to make very important decisions for you. Things like taxes, infrastructure. You want to know why our infrastructure is so bad? These are some of the people making the choices. Whether people go and fight in foreign lands. I mean, again, the Bears coming or not coming, the Bears changing their name to Indiana Bears or not, that's not life or death. It's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money, but it's not life or death. Your existence will still go on whether Indiana makes a horrible deal with the Chicago Bears or not. But these guys show you with what they did the other day, Jim Banks, U.S. Senator, Andrew Ireland, state rep, the complete lack of any obligation to truth, research, common sense, and they're using those same skills or lack thereof on things that actually really do matter. And if they're messing up on something so obvious and easy to disprove, what else are they missing or messing up on? So here's what happened. Last week, George McCaskey, the owner of the Chicago Bears, came out and he got asked about the stadium. And he sort of brushed the question off and said, I don't have anything to say. He said, Kevin Warren, who's the CEO, will say something later next week. The Bears' first preseason game is Saturday. And pretty much every year, the Bears and their management, the Bears ownership and management, hold some sort of very quick press availability before the first preseason game. This happens all the time. There was nothing any person with any common sense, given the statement from George McCaskey, in which he did, it was not like an announcement is imminent. We have a final decision. We're set to roll out with the statement. Like none of that. He said Kevin Warren will address it next week. And when you couple that with the fact that every year there's this press availability, and all the teams do this, it's not like it's some unique thing. And they talk about all sorts of stuff. The stadium was part of it because the Bears are in search of a stadium. But they talk about the team. They talk about the coaches. They talk about the players. They talk about the progress of the franchise. All sorts of stuff. There was nothing about this press availability on Wednesday that would lead you, on Wednesday when this gets reported, that on Thursday would lead you to believe a stadium announcement is imminent. And yet, some random guy on the internet who I've seen before, his name is Ben Devine, or he goes by Ben Devine. On Twitter, you don't even really know. But he goes at NFL_Chicago is his handle. And I looked through this guy's bio. I didn't see anything in his bio that you would say, this is a legitimate member of the media. Like, he's, again, from what I saw, he's not working for the Chicago Tribune, not the Sun-Times, not a reputable Chicago or Illinois government reporter for an entity, again, going off his bio, or like even ESPN. Just some random guy named Ben Devine. And one of the things I tried to do in the Illinois legislative session when they were debating the Bear Stadium bill is figure out, hey, who are the reputable reporters? Who are the people? And we have them here, right? The Nikki Kelly type of people, who are the Capital Chronicle type of people, the Indy Star people, like legitimate, who are our legitimate news organizations that cover the Statehouse. And I started following these people because they had a lot of real-time information. So you get to know who. It doesn't mean they're right about everything. It doesn't mean they're the best. Doesn't mean you should use their words as gossip. But you get a feel with just the most basic amount of research and paying attention on who the main people are that cover Illinois politics and government. This guy ain't on there, right? But this is what this guy Ben Devine wrote the other day on Twitter. Breaking. A finalized stadium deal is expected tomorrow, with the Chicago Bears landing in Indiana. Per source, Indiana is so heavily incentivizing the deal as to include a name change with Indiana in the team name when the stadium completes. #DeBears. Okay, first of all, any guy ending a tweet with #DeBears is clearly a cheerleader for the team and not a reputable reporter. Like, can you imagine Nikki Kelly from the Capital Chronicle doing some investigative, report, and then #for the shoe or something? I mean, that's why when the guy, what was his name? The guy from the Star did the heart sign with Caitlin Clark. People were like, no. Doyle, that was the guy's name. We're like, oh, no, that's not you, buddy. Like, that's not how so you're reading this. Okay, first of all, anybody knows anything about the Chicago Bears or football knows the Bears will never, ever not be the Chicago Bears. That's the franchise. They're one of the most popular franchises in the National Football League. The same family has forever owned the team. The Chicago Bears were in the blood of George Halas. They were his entire identity, the founder of the National Football League. The McCaskey family are the heirs of George Halas. Part of why they're not a very well-run franchise, they don't know anything about football. George Halas, he knew football. The family, not so much. But the Chicago Bears will, whether they play in Hammond, whether they play in Arlington Heights, whether they stay in Chicago, They will forever be the Chicago Bears. Any person with an IQ above 4 would know that. That should have been the first red flag to Jim Banks and Andrew Ireland, these U.S. Senator. Hey, this guy's probably a little off. Might not want to be sharing him on the internet. And anyone who had been remotely paying attention, which I would hope our state rep and our U.S. Senator would be, given the fact that whatever happens with the Bears Stadium, and they may very well end up in Hammond. They may very well end up in Hammond. I am still of the belief, as are many, many other people up in the region, that this is all a play and they're going to end up staying in Illinois. But they may very well end up in Hammond. But anybody remotely paying attention, which you would hope a U.S. Senator and a state rep would be, the people, in charge of spending our money on a multi-billion-dollar taxpayer-funded endeavor, which the Bears Stadium will be, that they would have paid attention and said, George McCaskey already addressed this. He already said, hey, there's going to be some statement involving the Bears Stadium next week with Kevin Warren. Not like, get everybody here, not national media, come on in. It was like, yeah, we'll address it next week. It had already been laid out that it was going to be one of the topics discussed in a regularly scheduled press conference. That's not how you announce a stadium deal. You do it the way the Chiefs did it when they went from Kansas City, Missouri to Kansas City, Kansas. They walk in like the good fellas at the Statehouse. We're here in our $10 billion suits. Announcement time, boys and girls. Oh, also, and you don't announce a stadium while the whole area is under disaster relief. But to our U.S. Senator and our state rep who make really important decisions for us, that never factored in. They shared this guy's post. They shared this rando's post despite all of the evidence to the contrary. And this guy, like, at no point were they like, who the hell is this guy? Like, is he a Chicago Tribune reporter? Is it Chicago Sun-Times? Is he like a ESPN guy? Here is what Kevin Warren did say about the move. Kevin Warren, CEO of the Chicago Bears. And a spoiler here, guys. Nothing we didn't already know. Now, he tries to spice it up a little bit, right? But in this statement, or a little montage of the statements from Kevin Warren, you're going to notice at no point do they say, we're coming to Hammond, a deal is done in Hammond, we're going to be playing football in Hammond, Indiana. Take a listen.
But even though we've had occasional meetings with the state of Illinois, our sole focus at this point in time is working on a world-class stadium and mixed-use development in Hammond, Indiana. Because we do have one viable site in Hammond, Indiana, and we expect here to have another viable site and maybe to be able to merge those sites together, and then we'll continually proceed forward. So it's reached that point now where we are starting to get some clarity. In the moment that we finish our due diligence and have the appropriate capital stack and financing together, we are looking forward to making a decision so we can break ground and get our project going forward. But time is now, and it's time to bring this to a close. And I'm grateful of where we are, and I think everyone will be pleased. One, once we make a final decision, and two, once we break ground. But even
once we make a final decision, no final decision has been made. Now, again, the Bears may very well end up in Hammond, but they don't need to do any. See, the whole due diligence stuff. They don't need to do any due diligence on Arlington Heights. They've owned the property for years. They've already demolished it. It's ready to go. Common sense, right? They've owned it. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this property. They've owned it for years. There's no due diligence that needs done. There was nothing there that was an announcement. That tweet that a U.S. Senator and a state rep in the state of Indiana who make choices for you shared was brazenly false. And it involves billions of your dollars. No apologies, no I'm sorry, no nothing. All right, maybe you're like, well, what about the Indiana Bears, Rob? What about those Indiana Bears? I mean, that was when I saw, because a couple members of the media, because they know, I'm a big Bears fan. I follow the Bears. I follow these Illinois reporters. A couple members of the media on Wednesday had reached out to me. And they said, what is going on with this? We're seeing all this reporting. And I said, well, can we find the original poster on this? So you start digging, and it comes back to this guy. And the moment I saw Indiana Bears, I said, that's ridiculous. I'm not paying attention to any of this. This is stupid beyond belief. The Chicago Bears will always be the Chicago Bears. There may be a stadium in Hammond, Indiana, but they will always be the Chicago Bears. And anybody with an IQ above 7 should have known that. And here is George McCaskey clarifying it yesterday for everyone that the Bears will always be the Chicago Bears.
We will be the Chicago Bears, whether we're in Arlington or whether we're in Hammond. And as Kevin said, our focus is on Hammond. That's where we're advancing our efforts. And that's where the bulk of our time, attention, and resources are being devoted.
Okay, so wrong again. You had a U.S. senator and a state rep post, and not like, they didn't post like, oh man, I hope this is true. Oh man, wouldn't that be awesome? Oh, this seems a little goofy, but man, that'd be amazing. No, they were posting this guy, this random guy, like some sort of authoritative person. So of course it doesn't come true. It's completely false. And now this Ben Devine guy, or at least that's what he goes by on Twitter. You never know if people are even real people on Twitter. Wouldn't it be funny if the guy was really like a Packers fan? like he was some plant to screw with everyone. Think about this, though. This is the era we live in now. Some random dude makes a post and everybody runs with it. Why? Because he has a profile picture and a bio that looks authoritative. And everybody ran with it. Like, media was covering it. Members of our media were reaching out to me about it. I'm sure they were digging into it. I was talking to people up in the region. I was like, this isn't, they're like, no, that's not going down. Because this shows you how you can't believe anything anymore. Some guy makes a post that's ridiculous on its face, and everybody, including a United States senator, runs with it. Who are the vetting people for Jim Banks? Does he run his own accounts? Somebody really needs to ask Banks that. Did you retweet this, or did some staffer do it for you? Here's what the Ben Devine guy said after he got made to be an idiot. Retraction. I was duped. I was duped. The source mentioned here, I now believe to be either fraudulent or intentionally manipulative. That's our entire government. Fraudulent or intentionally manipulative. Someone went to immense lengths to verify identity for this one post. I've gotten no other information from him. What does it say about this guy? Anybody with, look, my 3-year-old, Livy, will the Bears ever not be the Chicago Bears? No, Daddy. My 3-year-old could have figured that out. I will not be posting any further stadium updates. I believe there will not be any name change, but it will land in Indiana. I will delete the post shortly, and after the retraction is seen. I am sorry and am owning it. Sticking to on-field drama. As always, enjoy the Chicago Bears. A U.S. senator and a state rep who make choices and mandate how you live your life posted in an authoritative sense from some guy who has to post a retraction that starts with, I was duped. When I say you can't hate these people enough, this is exactly what I'm talking about. How many other times do they listen to somebody? I mean, think about this. How many times do these guys make choices listening to people that are the equivalent of this guy? Only it's not on Twitter for everyone to see. That's why I'm devoting an entire segment to this topic. In the end, this guy's ridiculous. And no reasonable person would have ever given an ounce of credibility to that. But one of the 100 most powerful people in our country did. This guy was wrong about absolutely everything. And guys who whine and complain about the media and the fake news, they're the fake news now. Jim Banks is the fake news. All the whining, the bitching about the media. Andrew Ireland is the fake news. Zero ownership from either of those guys that I've seen, by the way. No recant, hey man, he got me. Whoops, sorry, I'll use bet. Nothing. They're just acting like it didn't happen. And those guys, those are your elected officials. And that right there, friends, is how we start our Friday. Hey, Anthony Gary, he owns IndieDwell Real Estate, and he doesn't just list homes for sale. He gets them noticed, he gets them shown, he gets them sold without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony's trained with some of the top negotiators on earth and is ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put Anthony's expert selling strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, 317-756-1159, 317-756-1159, 317-756-1159. Guys, help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. We're dependent upon you. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how we do it. First of all, give us that thumbs up. If you're watching us live on YouTube or on demand on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. If you're an Apple person, give us that 5-star review and share the feed out. If you got a Facebook, if you got a Twitter, let people know we're here. And last but certainly not least, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to us or watching us on. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Want to thank our friend Mike, super generous listener Mike, who hit the support button over at robkendallshow.com. We certainly appreciate that. And a reminder, all this month, if you hit the support button at robkendallshow.com, whatever dollar amount you choose to throw our way, John McKinney of Black Sheep Plumbing is going to double that in a plumbing credit up to $100 for the month of August. So example, you say, hey, I think you guys on the Rob Kendall Show did $50 worth of good work this month. Here's $50. I send you an email, say, hey, thanks for being an awesome listener to our show. We love you. We don't deserve you. I heap all sorts of praise on you. Let's say your toilet goes out or you need with your sink or a water heater, water softener, whatever it might be. You call John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing. You say, hey, John, I need you to come out and repair a water heater. And by the way, I gave $50 to the Rob Kendall Show at robkendallshow.com earlier this month. Here's my letter. He's going to give you a $100 credit if you gave $50. What a deal. You actually end up coming out ahead if you need plumbing service. Thanks to our friends at Black Sheep Plumbing. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, a rare government win last night. And there's a lot of people that don't like how I do things. I get it. I've dealt with it for years. But last night, there was a government win that happened because of the way we do business. And we're going to tell you about it because it's going to end up saving people a bunch of money if it comes to fruition. And it's why you have to engage. We always talk about engagement and how you engage and how you deal with the government. And we got a success story, well, maybe a potential success story when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
DC politicians don't care. Buying stocks with insider information, they get filthy rich. But if you did it, you get locked up. Thankfully, there's one fighter on our side. Senator Todd Young is pushing to ban all congressional stock trading forever. He's never traded a single stock while in Congress. Young's a Marine who does the right thing. Contact Senator Todd Young, Thank him for standing up for us and for fighting to ban congressional stock trading.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
A rare potential story of government success, maybe. And a lesson on why we do what we do. We're going to need number 3 to start, by the way. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having an awesome Friday. Before we get to that, you guys got a leaky chimney? Water in the basement? Cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialist. Okay, so one of the things we've talked about for years, we talked about this on the old radio show all the time, not shy about it. I have 2 goals every day when I talk with you guys. Number 1 is to entertain you. If you're not being entertained, you're not going to listen. That is my number 1 goal. And for years, we've done it pretty well. One of the reasons people don't engage in politics, it's boring. It's boring. It is. Government is boring. A lot of the people in it, kind of boring. And so the coverage of politics and government is also often boring. Look, it's one of the things about Trump that we saw in our industry was that Trump was interesting. There were 2 huge spikes over the past sort of 10 years in talk radio. 11 years now. When Trump started running in 2015, 2016, so that basically that sort of year and a half there, then you really got 2 years out of it because then he was president and people were like, what the hell's going to happen? And then after about 6 months, people were kind of like, okay, it's like Obama. Remember when Obama got elected, people were like, what the hell's he going to do? And then you realized, he's just kind of a liberal president. There's not the seas, the world is not healed, right? Standard operating procedure, just kind of another guy because he's still got to work with the Congress. Same thing with Trump. Now, what's it going to be like? And he was wacky, entertaining, but being president is being president. And so you really saw sort of a 2-year bump there in terms of people wanted to tune into talk radio because there was something interesting every day. Then you saw it again summer of 24, really through the election, where after the assassination attempt on Trump and Biden dropping out and all of the stuff, that people got a renewed interest. But unless you have these specific events, and it is rare that specific events drive long-term interest in a medium. And it's true whether it's television, it's talk radio, it's whatever. It's very rare that there is a person or a thing that drives long-term interest in a medium. It's often quick little bursts. Trump was the exception. Obama was the exception. And then once people get used to it, then you go back to sort of standard operating procedure. So my point with all of that is to make this interesting, you got to have some talent. And you got to find ways to get people to stay engaged. One of the fascinating things about our business, and I podcasting, I put podcasting in, talk radio, I sort of put them all into one bucket. Rush Limbaugh was the first guy to do it, and he did it better than anybody else. That doesn't normally happen. Normally, there's some sort of elevation of people. Hey, I took a little bit from this guy and that guy. And when I'm saying the first national expansion guy was Rush. There were obviously lots of local talk show hosts. But Rush was sort of the first guy in that political sphere, that hard right political sphere that got the national audience. Certainly the way he did. And he was the best. He's the best to ever do it. There will never be another Rush. Because everybody else who comes after is just, in many ways, duplicating Rush. But one of the fascinating things was he elevated an entire industry to the point where there were a lot of guys who weren't all that good who got famous and rich. Jason will back me up on that. There's a whole lot of guys who were just there who got famous and they got rich. And so in our industry, it's really hard to keep people engaged. And I think one of the mistakes our industry makes is they don't think entertainment first. In your life, whether it's television or sports or whatever, you're going to watch something you're engaged in. You don't know what's going to happen next. You're not quite sure. Hey, that event or that person or whatever, they seem a little off. It's entertainment. That's ultimately what we do here, is we entertain people, whether it's here, whether it was there, wherever. Our number one job is to entertain you. Now, the second part of it, and I've always said this, the second part is to educate you. Because once you're here because you're entertained, it gives me the opportunity to talk to you and with you about things that I think are going to be important to your life. If you're here because you're entertained, you're going to be willing and wanting to be educated. And I've always said, if I can entertain you and I can educate you, I can get you to think the way I want you to think. And that's our goal. Our goal here is different than the goal of everybody else. Better government. That's it. We dislike all these people equally. Better government. I don't care if it comes from Republicans. I don't care if it comes from Democrats. I don't care if it comes from independents or libertarians or whatever. Better government. Whoever's got the better government, I'm with them. And so I have always taken the approach, you have to first entertain people to get their attention, to educate them. And this is nothing new. We've told you guys this for years. But sometimes it's good to repeat it when we have a success story doing that. Because that's why it works. You come for the sizzle, you stay for the steak type of thing. And so brings us to last night. And we talked about this earlier this week on the show. There's all these communities that are enacting these wheel taxes across central Indiana. We've seen all of these communities enact these wheel taxes. And one of the things that has become abundantly clear to me is there is mass confusion amongst the communities on how it actually works. And that is 100% the fault of the General Assembly. Because the way this works is General Assembly passes laws and they just come down as edicts. They're nuanced policies, good and bad. They don't explain it to the public. There's never a one sheet that comes out of here's what we're doing and here's how you do it and here's what we're trying to accomplish. They do it, the edict comes out, and then the communities just respond. And so what became abundantly clear to me over time is that there was mass confusion on how these new wheel taxes actually work. We saw Greenwood, we saw Beech Grove, others have enacted these wheel taxes. Now, they were very clear in those communities it was an additional tax. We saw Indianapolis just do 5 times their wheel tax. These were all tax increases. But one of the things that I knew was there was an option to not raise the tax. Local communities could take the tax away from the county, essentially, because most counties already had a wheel tax. These local communities were doing them in addition to the county. Sorry, Jason, about Greenwood. Sucks for you. Greenwood always sucks. But one of the things I knew is you don't have to do that. But most communities are choosing to. They're taking over these wheel tax and they're adding on top because they're saying they want these, what they call community crossing grants. The state was essentially bribing the communities to raise taxes, just like they did in Marion County. In order to get this money from us, you got to have a wheel tax. And most of the communities were choosing to add on. They're doing their own wheel tax, more revenue there, more revenue from the state, more revenue. But I knew because old Uncle Rob, he reads, right? And that's the key. A lot of these guys don't read. That you didn't have to do it. Or at least I didn't think you had to do it. The communities could take the wheel tax away from the counties without making it an additional tax. They could just take over a tax. And so on Monday, the agenda for the council meeting comes out, or at least that's when I see it. By the way, how is it that you don't get to see an agenda for a government meeting until a couple days before the meeting? Why is that? How are you supposed to process and read? I mean, hundreds of pages sometimes of documentation as a regular citizen in a couple of days. Most people can't. Luckily, you people have me. And so on this agenda, there's this wheel tax proposal for the town council. And I look at this and I start reading it and I go, I'm not sure if this is what they call a stack, which is an additional tax, a stack. We're stacking this tax on top of the county tax or a replacement. And I said to myself, it's Monday. They're going to vote on this on Thursday. I can damn well bet most of them haven't even read the packet or the agenda of these council members yet. I got 3 days to make a difference. Let's roll. And so I do what I do, and I put out a post on social media and shared that out on all the social media platforms, and I used the sort of language that I use and might have had some name calling in there. And you know what happened? We talked about it on here. You know what happened? Other media outlets started covering it, started writing articles about it. They were confused too. Is it a stack? Is it its own tax? I reached out to a couple of members of the council. They were confused too, got them to read. And you know what happened? They all started talking about it. They started, remember from Saturday Night Live, the church lady, talk amongst yourselves. They started calling the state of Indiana, finding out, hey, what is the actual thing here? We don't want this to be a tax increase. How can we ensure that happens? We want to make sure if we do this, we're not raising people's taxes. What does the language say here? Government got to work. And you know what they found as a part of that? Not only is it not a tax increase, they can actually lower the tax and still get the money from the state of Indiana. Because this is all about, right? We're told we're doing these tax increases because that's the only way now we can get these community crossing grants. So because they started looking into it and they started asking questions and getting more answers and asking further, because that was my next question when they said, no, it's not a tax increase. I said to multiple of them, I said, well, if it's not a tax increase, what happens if you didn't take the tax? What happens if you took less tax? They didn't know. They started looking into it. You know what they found? You can take less tax. You can take less tax and you still get the money from the state. So now, because Rob was Rob and Rob was doing his thing, now there's a proposal on the table to lower the tax, to take less money from the people. Over time, putting millions of dollars back in to the pockets of the taxpayers of the community. All because we do things the way we do here, which is why we do them the way we do. Good on those guys. Now, they tabled it. They tabled the vote. They've had multiple proposals to lower the tax. They're supposed to discuss it and come back in a couple weeks. Maybe they don't lower the tax. But it's on the table. The ability for people to save money, which is always my goal. More money back in your pocket, less government. And so to come back to you guys, this is why you have to engage. And when you engage, you got to do it in a way that draws people's attention. These guys were set to vote on this last night, and they would have just approved it status quo. Maybe it would have been a tax increase. Maybe it wouldn't. Don't know. I don't think anybody still really knows for sure. Shame on the state of Indiana. But what I do know is now they're digging into it. They're doing their homework. And the proposal now looks like tax decrease. People want to not like me. People want to say bad things about me. Today, could you be any more pompous? Well, if my pompousness saves people millions of dollars, then okay. Yeah. Jason's like, and he's holding back. You want to see pompous? You got no idea. Our goal has always been two things. And it ain't news. It ain't breaking news. Entertain you, to get as many people to tune in as possible, to get as many people to listen as possible, or now watch as possible, or listen. And then if you're entertaining, you'll be here. We're going to educate you. And our goal here is not to be friends with anybody, not to align with anybody other than you, the listener, the viewer. We don't want to be friends with people. We don't have sides other than yours. That's how we do things. And we get stuff done to the best we can. Hey guys, let's tell you about our friend Gary Tedrow. Whether you're buying your first rental property or growing an investment portfolio, financing matters. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps investors explore loan options designed for rental properties and long-term wealth building. As a local mortgage advisor, Gary Tedrow works one-on-one with investors to help them understand their financing options and create a strategy that fits their goals. Learn more at loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. All right, coming up here in just a little bit, Jeremiah Morrill is going to be with us, podcaster, East Central Indiana. He's going to be with us, laying out how the damage that the flooding has done in East Central Indiana. It's horrible, guys. I mean, a lot of focus on the region, which it should be, but it's just horrible. And so lay out what's going on there, how long it may take for things to get back to normal, what the damage has been, et cetera. But first, some audio from around the globe. You know, our bread is buttered here on Indiana news, politics, and government, but we do keep you informed of what's going on around the world. And we use some of the best audio from around the world in order to do that. So this is one I didn't have on my bingo card. A Democrat U.S. rep calling FDR a racist. You know, FDR is always the gold standard, right? All presidents should be. FDR is the Democrats' Abraham Lincoln. And infallible man, because nobody grew government like FDR. Well, Representative Ro Khanna, he's a Democrat from California. He launches into this rant about FDR being a racist. And then, of course, he uses that to pivot into that we now need some new form of giant government handout to make it good. Take a listen.
He excluded a lot of the Black South, where domestic workers, agricultural workers didn't get a chance. He purposely set Social Security at 65, knowing that Black life expectancy was 59.
That was the only way he was going to get Southern support for his social reforms.
He excluded, of course, Japanese Americans and interned them. But a multiracial New Deal, in my view, is what is needed. And it will probably be one of America's greatest moments, because what we can do and will do in America, I don't know if it'll be my generation or the next generation, we will become the world's first cohesive multiracial democracy.
A multiracial New Deal. We're $40 trillion in debt, guys. Inflation is through the roof. You can't afford anything. And this guy's like, we need another New Deal. We need more government. That's the problem. There's not enough government. But I did want to play that because now we have on the record FDR was a raging racist. And that is how far left the left has gone now, where FDR is a bad guy. FDR is not good enough. And we're going to call that son of a gun a racist to prove we need more DEI, more handouts to black people, because gosh darn it, there hasn't been enough of that. And $40 trillion in debt, it's not enough. All right. FDR, now a racist. Very good. Thank you for clarifying. So here's another audio clip I want to play for you guys. Representative Brandon Gill. He's a Republican from Texas. He was on the Will Cain show. And I thought he did a really good job of laying out some of the serious economic issues as it relates not only to illegal immigration, but also unchecked legal immigration. Take a listen.
Ask yourself, whenever you flood this country with millions of people, primarily illegal, but also large-scale legal immigration in certain areas, what does that do? That suppresses wages while at the same time driving up the price of rent and the price of housing. So you're getting hit on both fronts. These are also the same people who are coming in and taking American jobs, making it harder to find work. They're the reason why whenever you go to the hospital and you realize your doctor bill or your insurance bill is insane, you realize it's because we have millions of people from all over the third world that have been let into our country, and we're subsidizing their health care, and your insurance prices are paying for that. I mean, you can go on and on and on, but that's what I think that it all does go back to mass migration.
I want to come back to the last thing he said, because my wife's mother was a nurse. She's retired now. She was a nurse, and she's very recently retired. And she would talk about that all the time. Every time I would see her, Rob, you have no idea how much money we as taxpayers are spending on illegal immigrants to get free health care. Every day. So they roll into the hospital. And she said one of the things that the hospital was incentivized to keep these people because it's paid for by the government. You got private insurance, they ain't paying for nothing that you don't definitely need, right? Every test scrutinized. Every procedure scrutinized. Do you really need it? Well, I think my heart's going to go out. Well, do you really need it? Every procedure, test, every stay with private insurance scrutinized because they're in it to make money. With the illegal immigrants, the government doesn't care. And she would say these illegal immigrants would stay in the hospital sometimes for months or even years. Months or even years. And there was no incentive from the hospital to get them out of there because they're getting paid. And the government, well, they don't give a damn because it's not their money. He's absolutely right. And it was one of the things when we got into it with Jesse Brown the other day. And look, guys, we value free speech on this show. Even free speech we vehemently disagree with. And we've been that way for years. You protect speech at all costs, including speech you don't like, because you need your speech to be protected too. And if you're a U.S. citizen, you have a voice. And my job then is to push back, which I think, guys, I did a pretty damn good job of. Don't you? When he was spouting the nonsense about the no prisons, no China, or be like China, no borders, I think I did a pretty good job pushing back on the guy. And we've always believed letting people talk, if you're resolute in your positions and you know your stuff, it's going to make more people side with you anyway. The answer to get a better country is not cut off people's voices. The answer is let those voices be heard, and then you shred them. You destroy them in a debate. I mean, there's nobody, and we love Jesse Brown. I mean, I don't agree with anything he thinks politically, but he's a very nice guy. I've talked to numerous people who are Republicans who have met with him personally, and they've said the same thing I've said. Hell of a nice guy. Totally nuts, but a heck of a nice guy. And if you think about locally, he's actually been very valuable. There's a moratorium on data centers in Marion County now for 2 years, year and a half. It's because of him. He was the leader on it. And every city and county in the state should follow suit of Indianapolis on that. You don't say that very often. Every county should follow Indianapolis. Not often. But that's because of him. He was the leader. He's been the one guy who's been willing to publicly call out Joe Hogsett for all the stuff. Rest of the council members, Republicans and Democrats, they cower in fear. They hide under their table. He calls them out. That voice is necessary. He gets his right to his opinion. We do ourselves a huge disservice when we just cut off voices and say people don't have the right to speak. What we should do with that is have debates like we do. And one of the things I think you saw when we had that debate is there's no plan for any of this. These socialist people don't have any plan to get rid of prisons, how that would work. They don't have any plans to let 1 billion people illegally into, well, they would say that it becomes legal, into the country, how you feed them, how you clothe them, how you house them. Oh, they'll all go if they want to work. What if they don't? There's no answer for any of that. And so the argument falls apart. It's way more valuable to let somebody speak than just cut them off and not let them have a voice. And there's a bunch of things he disagrees with me on. But if Jesse Brown had a radio show or a podcast, he would definitely let me on it. We'd have at it. It'd be fun. That's how we better our country. But to getting back to this point, the point from Brandon Gill and the point that my mother-in-law had made, we're spending billions and billions of dollars every year on services for illegal immigrants and services for people we have legally let into the country who are not U.S. citizens. Should your money be going to that? Should your money be going to people who are breaking the law? Should your money be going to people who are not citizens of this country? We're not even talking about more or less money in the government. We're talking about where should the government money actually go? And I think he makes a heck of a good point. All right, last piece of audio. So Joe Rogan, I think Shane Gillis was the actual guest, and then he's always got sometimes he's got a bunch of guys in there like he did on this clip you're going to hear. But Joe Rogan and his merry band of misfits, it's primarily Rogan you're going to hear, got into a discussion about the internet and about the idea of, do we need to actually, this has been a conversation going on for years, do we actually need to police the internet? Do we need to have rules and regulations around the internet? I thought what Rogan and these guys went back and forth on was very interesting, and then we'll get into it. Take a listen.
But I think the internet is a big part of why we're so
yeah.
But you can't get rid of the internet.
Well, I hate regulation, but you got to do something with it.
So what do we do? That's what I'm saying.
You got to start regulating that. It's so bad for people.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's ruined.
Well, you got to teach people to stay off it.
But also, you got to be like, guys,
but
you can't do
not.
this in society. You're turning everyone against each other in a crazy
But the
rate.
problem is they've made so much money doing it, and there's so much money now that these corporations are holding that they have so much influence over politicians. It's really an extraordinary time where these tech oligarchs are really in control of a giant chunk of the narrative that shapes society, shapes our economy, shapes our social systems, shapes everything. There's so much going on right now that it's being manipulated by just a small amount of people. It's kind of fucking nuts, and nobody saw it coming.
It's a fascinating conversation because they're right about both things. And then there's the other thing. What are you talking about? First of all, the internet is a cesspool. It is. It is. The internet is a cesspool, and it ruins people. Absolutely true. The internet ruins people. There's no doubt about it. People say and do stuff on the internet they never do in person. It's a question I've long asked. Were these people always this nuts, and we just see them now because of the internet? Or have they become more nuts because the internet exists? They're absolutely right about that. Then there's the second part of it in which megacorps are incentivized to keep things the way they are because they make huge money off it, and there's a huge control factor to it. And they've got the politicians right where they want them. Both of those things are correct. And so on the surface, you would say, well, we got to do something. The question, though, is what? What would you propose that we do? How would you propose to police the internet? And is then the human history of humanity, is there anything government policed that it got better? No, I'm not talking about like basic policing, like police the streets. I'm talking about the government involvement, The government's here now. It's better. Do you actually feel safer because of the government involvement in the airlines? Do you feel safer? I don't know. I don't fly, so I don't know. I'm asking you guys. Think about in your regular existence, the things you see, the things you observe, the things government gets involved in. Does it ever get better? I think if you're being honest with yourself, the answer is no. So what does government policing the internet look like? And I'm not talking about people committing crimes on the internet. Obviously, that needs to be policed. You know, there's heinous things that go on the internet, and those people should be arrested and thrown in jail. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about some sort of governmental codes related to the internet, governmental oversight related to the internet, government policing of the internet. Everything those guys are saying is true, but I don't know what the answer is. Look, the things I say on the internet, you guys know I say them right to people's faces. It's the same way we deal with say in death what you say about somebody in life. If you loved them in life, you mourn them, you cry for them, you tell everybody about how amazing they were. If you didn't like them, tell everybody what a rotten son of a gun they were. That's how I want it. When I go, if you people hated me, don't you dare be saying anything nice. But if you loved me, you mourned for a week. I want one of those George Floyd type funerals. The gold casket, like in 7 places. But if you hated me, don't you dare be a big phony. You rip me. Facebook, Twitter, all the places. It's the same thing, the approach I've taken with the internet. And I think I've walked the walk in addition to talking the talk on that. If I say it on the internet, I say it right to your face. And always do it behind my own name. Have I told that story about the politician that was getting some anonymous grief and they were convinced it was me? Have I told that? There was a very high-profile politician who was getting some sort of anonymous harassment. And I was told this by a super reliable source, that they were so convinced it was me, they called the FBI in. And they were dead set on proving, we're going to prove that's Rob Kendall and we're going to destroy him. And those guys came in and they were like, no, that's not him. Here's who it is. And it was some, rando weirdo or whatever. And they're like, oh, that's disappointing. Guys, if it said it's coming from @RobMKendall on Twitter or my Facebook account, if I'm going to say it, I want the clicks, guys. I want the hits. They were so certain. And I heard this from a source that was rock solid. They were like, they were certain they had you, man. Like that this anonymous, I think it was over the top stuff, right? That's the other thing. I know where the line is. I know where the line is. But they were so certain. I don't know why. I don't even know what it was. But that this anonymous person was me, that they were going to get me, that they brought the feds in and they were like, no, it's not him. And they were so disappointed. I always say it right to people's faces. And I say exactly on the internet what I would say if you were standing right in front of me. But it's an interesting conversation. There's a lot of heinous actors on the internet. They need to be dealt with law enforcement. But would, quote unquote, policing the internet stop that? Would it make it any better? Would it make the internet a better place? I don't know about you guys. I'm very, very suspect that it would. But it's an interesting conversation to have, and I think Rogan is always fascinating. Hey, guys, it's Friday. That means Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage in Brazil open for business. Friday dinner, Saturday dinner, Sunday lunch buffet. Menu items this week, special menu items this week. Beef tips and mushrooms, pork chops with peach stuffing, cherry chocolate chip cake, blueberry pie featuring homemade pie crust with the kiss of honey. It's on the water. You may not be able to get outdoors today, but the dining experience is still great. Great opportunity to get away, relax, have a evening out, and it's close enough you can get right back home. It's in Brazil. A little bit of a drive, totally worth the trip. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage on the water, beautiful Brazil. 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. All righty, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Jeremiah Morrill, podcaster, is going to join us from East Central Indiana. There is tons of flooding going on there, guys. People are underwater. People are trapped in their homes. Roads are disintegrating. They're going away. Neighborhood, like I said, neighborhoods underwater. A lot of calamity out there. Jeremiah Morrill from Newcastle going to join us. Tell us what's going on. Take you, sort of, kind of give you a view you're not really able to see because you can't get there. Big conversation when we come back. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. You know, weather has been a huge story, declaration of emergency from the governor. A lot of focus has been on the region, Northwest Indiana, but East Central Indiana, really right outside sort of the donut counties, was hit extraordinarily hard. Our voice on the ground, the voice of East Central Indiana, Jeremiah Morrill, the boss hog of Liberty, joining us from the greater downtown Newcastle area. Hello, Jeremiah.
Great to see you, Rob. Thanks for inviting me on the new show. Glad to be with you over on this side.
Yes. So, okay. You were telling me, and look, I'd seen some of the pictures, but you were telling me about the magnitude of the damage in the Newcastle area, East Central Indiana, Henry County, and with all the focus on the region, you guys aren't getting near the attention, but holy smokes, is the damage devastating? Tell us about it.
I think we set a record for the most rain the state of Indiana has ever had in a 24-hour period. And we did not expect rain. We expected a couple inches, same thing you get, every now and then. Radar says that we got between 15 and 17 inches of of rain in East Central Indiana, right? So Henry County and Wayne County, kind of right centered over New Lisbon, but Connorsville, Cambridge City, Newcastle, Hagerstown, we are just inundated with rain. Yesterday was the worst of it, or I guess Wednesday was the worst of it as of when we're recording this. Neighborhoods were flooded that have never flooded before. My house, every road in and out of my neighborhood was standing water. We had emergency rescues 3 doors down from my home. It's been surreal. Things that were just standing water all of a sudden were rushing rivers.
Talk us through how people get out of that. Like, I'm talking the date, like things we take for granted, right? Like, I have to go to the store. Screw the work, right? Some people are probably happy to get out of work. But the basics, when you have entire neighborhoods that are flooded, and you're not just talking like standing water, you're talking inability to use your automobile to get through it. What are people doing out there?
Stay home and wait. I mean, honestly, like in Newcastle, there are still neighborhoods that you just cannot escape right now. People are stuck at home. Thankfully, most people still have telephone, internet, and power in this area. But my in-laws, they're the one road in and out of their neighborhood has 3 feet of water literally moving over it. They cannot leave as of right now. the local Kroger, the State Road 3. We have 3 grocery stores in town, or 4 grocery stores in town, but we have an Aldi and a Kroger. Aldi is completely flooded. You can't get in or out of the Aldi. The Rural King closed. Most of the restaurants that are in that little strip, I mean, things are just shut down. The Kroger is open as of right now, but they couldn't get any trucks in or out if they needed to. You have to sneak in through the back entrance. We're amongst the highest elevation in the state of Indiana here. So Henry County, Wayne County, the highest point in Indiana is about 1,100 feet, and it's in Wayne County. Newcastle sits at about 1,070 feet, which is good news and bad news. The good news is that almost every river in Indiana starts right here. So we don't have a lot of big, deep rivers, but we have a lot of places for water to go. But they're all bursting. So the Big Blue River, the Flat Rock River, the White River that flows down into Indianapolis, the Whitewater River that flows down to Brookville and into Brookville Lake, those rivers all start right here. So the water is slowly leaving neighborhoods, leaving the city streets, and it's getting out into those areas. So by Friday, Saturday, I think we're going to be drained. But this water is coming to feed people downriver, and they're going to be the next ones to experience it.
Jeremiah Morrill is our guest, the Boss Hog of Liberty. By the way, it's a fabulous podcast. I was talking about you today on the show, and I said, you are like the news voice of Henry County, a guy who goes by the name the Boss Hog of Liberty. You host debate forums. The politicians come kiss your ring finger. Tell us real quick before we get back to the weather about the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast.
Yep, we've been an independent media voice since 2017. We moved into this studio in beautiful downtown Newcastle in 2018. My wife and I were able to buy the building last year, and we've found a niche here. This is my golf game. Almost every Thursday night, we record a show. We sit down and we talk to local county commissioners, state representatives, state senators, folks running for Congress, running for statewide office. We've been able to find a way to create an independent voice for media. The local Courier-Times newspaper picks up our show every week and runs a summary of what we did during COVID. There were no public forums, so every debate amongst folks running for office happened here, and we're inclusive to all, just like you guys are. Democrats,
Great.
Republicans, far left, far right, and libertarians. Everybody's friends here, and we have good, strong conversations.
Yeah, my slogan is we hate all these people equally. Your slogan is I like all these people equally. You're friends with everyone. You're like the bizarro world, Rob Kendall.
Yeah, we are. We're Rob Kendall on decaf.
Okay, let's get back to the weather. Jeremiah Morrill, our guest. Check out the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. They're talking about this severe weather of East Central Indiana. Okay, but it's more than just flooding. There's severe damage to infrastructure. Like some major roadways are unpassable. Has there been any talk, and maybe it's too soon, about what happens next, because you got to get these things back where people can drive on them?
Yeah, almost every east-west corridor through East Central Indiana is damaged or has closures at this point. I-70 westbound in Wayne County is closed. I think INDOT's trying to get that. Their stretch goal is to get that reopened by Friday. So potentially by the time this airs, they may be getting that open this afternoon. State Road 38 has multiple washouts and closures. State Road 3, about the only unaffected east-west corridor through Wayne and Henry County right now is US 36. So if you imagine it, like US 40 through Cambridge City is underwater. They were running boats there this week for rescues of people.
Legitimately?
Legitimately, bass boats out there picking people up. We had in Foster's Landing over on the east side of Newcastle, the fire department was turning out rubber boats, rescuing over 100 residents from apartments that were stranded. Every time you try to go down a road, you come to cones and you have to find another way out, whether it's trees that are down, culverts that have washed out, simply roads that have collapsed, or standing water or water of rivers that have come up over the top of things. Almost every single east-west corridor is closed or has temporarily been closed.
Yes, anybody with a basement is in relatively big trouble.
I have been running sump pumps for friends all over town the last 2 days. trying to get people dried out. The Boss Hog studio here had about 4 inches of water in the basement as of yesterday. I had our producer, Zach Burcham, he had 12 inches of water in his basement yesterday. So the dewatering phase seems to have passed, and now we're running fans trying to get people dried out. But yeah, it's if you had a dry basement in Newcastle, you were the exception.
Is this, hey, in a month everything will be back to normal, 6 months, a year? Like what do you think you're looking at in terms of damage?
I think there are people that it's going to take them months and years for things to be fully back to normal. There are some folks that, it's going to be an annoyance, and there's other people that their lives are messed up. I don't know the answer for some folks that don't live in a floodplain but had a flood, right? You don't have flood insurance. Nobody has that flood insurance, but yet you're in deep trouble. There's a number of local businesses that are saying, hey, HVAC companies are coming out doing $0 inspections and replacing parts for furnaces that are furnaces and air conditioners that are out. They're going to do them at cost. There are flooring companies that are saying, hey, we're going to come out and we'll do stuff for you at a deep discount. The community's coming together. The township trustee's office, the health department, they're accepting food, water, all of those, clothing, those sorts of things, trying to make sure people are taken care of. But the local government's done a great job of keeping the water running. Somehow the sewer plant's operating. I don't want to ask a lot of questions about what's going on down there, but it seems to be things are leaving when you flush, right? I don't know. Don't go kayaking anytime soon. We'll put it that way.
So wild, because Northwest Indiana got all this attention, and like you guys are, I mean, maybe not as bad, but it doesn't seem like East Central Indiana's getting near the attention that Northwest Indiana did.
This was a surprise. We didn't expect it. Wednesday morning, I woke up to texts from people across the state saying, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I think I'm okay." And then you go outside and you look around and you go, "Oh my, I guess maybe I'm not as okay as I thought I was." Um, Flooding surprises you, man. And 17 inches of rain. And honestly, no loss of life. We've heard no casualties, a lot of inconveniences, but people have property can be replaced. We've got campgrounds that are underwater. Cambridge City has houses that are completely underwater. My next door neighbor, they had 8 feet of water up to the top of their privacy fence yesterday. But lives are okay. So the rest of it we're going to figure out.
Are all the medical facilities, were any of them in any way taken down or disrupted? That's always the thing you kind of worry about most.
So the Henry County Hospital itself is okay. One of the newer facilities called Northfield Park is out by the Big Blue River, and unfortunately it closed yesterday. It was completely surrounded by water. They looked like an island. That building was, the entire parking lot around it was flooded yesterday, and it did not reopen today. The hospital itself is open, but a lot of the access roads were flooded. So it's not great answers. They'll figure it out, kind of a situation, but there are still some areas that are inaccessible and some facilities that are closed.
Couple of minutes left with Jeremiah Morrill, the boss hog of Liberty, Newcastle, Indiana's favorite son. We're talking about the damage done by the rain, storms in East Central Indiana. It's weird too, because you always think like, well, there wasn't a tornado, so how bad could it be? And this is a great example. Look, I say this as a guy who had his radio station in near Wilmington ruined twice by hurricanes, not because of wind, but because of rain. Rain can do intense, even more damage than the wind can do when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, the erosion is real, right? You see what INDOT is dealing with, what these local towns are dealing with. You have culverts that can only take so much water, and then water starts to take dirt and gravel away, and then you cannot stop it. So we have city streets, Riley Road. I think the Indianapolis media was out here on Wednesday morning, and you saw Riley Road starting to go. That's one of the biggest east-west corridors in the city of Newcastle. That's going to be closed for not days, weeks, months, as they try to figure that one out.
All right, we'll get you out of here with this. There are 2 landmark locations in the city of Noblesville. They both have large shoes. The Steve Alford Inn and the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. How are the large shoes that are an iconic staple of Henry County? And how is the Hoosier Gym in Knightstown?
As far as I know, the shoes are doing just fine. They repaint the one at the Steve Alford Inn. It's in Nevada colors nowadays, and it's doing fine. Knightstown's okay. I think the water's going to rise on the Big Blue in Knightstown, but I was talking to some contacts down there today. They're doing just fine. The Hoosier Gym is in good shape.
That's very important. You got to protect your national treasures. If people want to learn more about the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast, how can they do that?
BossHogOfLiberty.com's got all the links. We live stream almost every Thursday on YouTube and Facebook. Follow us over there. Check it out. We talk about local issues to East Central Indiana, but it's the same issues that you find all over the state and all over the country.
It's fabulous. It's like this show, except Jeremiah is very friendly and all the politicians like him versus this program here. Jeremiah Morrill, you're the best. Good luck. Your wife is about to give birth here any day now. So good luck and enjoy the fatherhood.
Thank you, Rob. Great to see you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Friday. Thanks for spending it with us, man. Thanks to Jeremiah Morrill, Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. I love that show. You guys know I've been on there several times over the years. It's so cool. They have just created an environment out there that is what community radio used to be, and they do it from their own building in the heart of Newcastle. It's awesome. And thanks to Jeremiah for filling us in on what's going on there in East Central Indiana, which is very, very serious. Again, not to in any way underscore what's going on in the region. It seems to have gotten more of the attention, obviously, Chicagoland area, but the East Central Indiana stuff, very serious, and we really appreciate him taking the time to be able to fill us in on what's going on there. Just a reminder, you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show, Indiana news, politics, and government you're not going to find anywhere else. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how you help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Like, share, and subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. If you're watching us live or on demand on YouTube, 5-star review if you can on all the Apple, the iHeart, Spotify, all the places. Also, share the feed out, Facebook, Twitter, wherever it might be. And, of course, subscribe to whatever platform you are listening to us on. Now, Monday, big show. We're going to have State Senator Spencer Deary with us. Of course, Spencer Deary is the senator, incumbent Lafayette area, initially won the Senate primary against Paul Copenhaver by 3 votes. And then Copenhaver's people tried to subpoena voters, as far as them to say who they voted for and why. That got struck down. But then at the recount commission, which is headed up by Diego Morales by a vote of 2-1, voted to throw a whole bunch of Spencer Deary votes out, giving the election to Paul Copenhaver because the government didn't process the votes properly. Not that people didn't vote, but that the government didn't process the votes properly. And I was talking to a former jurist yesterday, former judge, and I asked this person, I said, okay, just us shooting the breeze here, can this stand on appeal? And because the Deary's people have said they are immediately taking this to the Court of Appeals. And the judge, former judge, now told me, they said, it shouldn't. They should not be able to disenfranchise people's votes. And again, I was trying to get like an honest lay of the land from this judge, not trying to, you guys know my opinion. I think this is complete crap. You vote the way people tell you to vote. You do your job, the vote counts. If you can disenfranchise a vote based on government incompetency, then what's to stop it when it's a nefarious act by the government? I don't think any of these votes that got thrown out because they didn't have proper stamps or signatures or whatever were nefarious. I don't believe that for a second. I just think somebody didn't do their job right. Well, okay. You don't do your job right at the Walmart. Your boss says, hey, you got to make sure those Oreos get put out there. Okay, I'll get on it. Or, fix it. You stack something wrong or whatever. You do this here, you take away somebody's right to vote. Somebody can't be denied the right to vote because you didn't process the form properly. And so I asked the judge, I said, is this going to hold up? And she said, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. But who knows? The court can do whatever they want to do. And so we'll see. So Spencer Deary is going to be with us on Monday. And he sent out a press release yesterday. And what is interesting is the press release is related to something that we touched on, which is, so the election, the recount commission is made up of 3 people. It's Diego. It's, and by the way, if I'm Greg Ballard, this is what I am making an ad. I'm making a case right now about the importance of having an impartial third-party person to be the recount guy. Or it could be girl, but there's no, well, the Libertarian candidate's a woman, but she ain't winning. So the 3 people that have a chance to win, Ballard, By, Engling, they're men. So I will say recount guy. I'm not trying to disenfranchise women. There's just not going to be a woman that's going to be in that position. And there's not a woman right now. There has been in the past. But if I'm Ballard, I'm making an ad about this because Diego Morales is showing the importance of having a nonpartisan or an independent person in this position because he was one of the votes to throw all these votes out. Now, the ironic thing, of course, of all of this is these clerks are supposed to be trained by Diego. Diego's office. He's the chief elections officer. Now, I know Diego takes pride in doing everything but his job, but no more incompetence from Diego Morales. The other guy, so there's a Republican appointee, a Democrat appointee, and the Secretary of State. The other guy who voted to throw these ballots out is an attorney by the name of Paul Mullen. And Paul Mullen has super close ties to Jim Banks and Todd Rokita. And I said from the beginning when these votes got thrown out, I said, I don't know, man. It's kind of, I think it's going to raise some red flags to people that Rokita and Banks were so behind this Paula Copenhaver, that dark money group gave $1 million or or essentially they didn't give it to Copenhaver, but they bought ads, et cetera, in support of her. And they're tied into banks. And then you've got this guy being the tie-breaking vote to throw these votes out. I think that's going to be a red flag for some people. And lo and behold, Deary's campaign sent a big press release out about this. And we're going to ask Spencer about this. He's going to be on with us on Monday. Now, a reminder, and I'm going to read you part of the press release. But the real question at play here, and Spencer Deary's attorney is Samantha DeWester. She's been on our show. You ask her in the state of Indiana, she is considered the best election attorney by many people in the state of Indiana. And so I'm sure this is a question she's going to ask in front of the appeals court. Can the government throw out your vote because the government was too incompetent to process your vote? That's the real question. Is the Court of Appeals, or ultimately where this will end up probably is the Supreme Court, willing to tell 7 million people that your vote is not guaranteed just because you make it? Is that what you're willing to say? There's not a doubt here in any of these ballots, not like a hanging Chad. We're like, oh, what is this one? What does it mean? That is not the thing here. The thing here is your vote guaranteed because you make it? The obvious answer to me is yes. Or is the court willing to say you are dependent upon government competency in order to have your vote counted? Here's what Deary's campaign wrote in a press release. 2 days after voting to invalidate 8 ballots cast for State Senator Spencer Deary on grounds that were mostly unprecedented, Indiana Recount Commissioner Paul Mullen detailed his close friendship with Senator Jim Banks at an Indianapolis political event. Mullen introduced Banks by chronicling their years of friendship and by sharing stories from their days in college together. Banks reciprocated by calling Mullen, quote, a great friend of mine. Deary's campaign said the joint appearance at Wednesday's Broad Ripple GOP meeting underscores the deep ties between Banks and Mullen and further calls into question Mullen's impartiality. A Banks-aligned dark money group, Hoosier Leadership for America, spent over $1 million trying to defeat Deary and install challenger Paula Copenhaver in the Indiana Senate. Now let's go back in time. A few days before Mullen voted to throw these ballots out. Mullen also voted to say that the Copenhaver campaign could put these voters in question. Remember, there were like 11 voters that they said were Democrats or people crossing over or whatever, and that they voted illegally. Mullen also voted to say that those same voters could be put under appeal. Or, I'm sorry, put under examination based on the request by Copenhaver's campaign. Even Diego was like, man, that's a bridge too far. Remember, the vote was 2-1 on that. The Democrat and Diego said, no, you can't do that. This guy voted to say you could do that. It certainly appears, I think, to an average person, man, this guy seems to be repeatedly ruling in a way that would help Copenhaver's campaign. Maybe that's just a coincidence. But when you've got a guy then days later going, my good friend Jim Banks, who was clearly supporting Paula Copenhaver, I think that raises some questions for people. Quote, our state and country only work when Americans can trust that the institutions overseeing our elections are impartial and committed to the rule of law, Deary said. These conflicts raise serious concerns that some members of this commission may have been more committed to finishing what the dark money group started than to defending the will of the voters and following the rule of law. He not messing around now, man. Deary's coming out and just straight out making the accusation that Mullen voted the way he did to throw those ballots out because he wanted Copenhaver to win. That is very clear to me. That's the allegation that Deary's making. Because his buddy Jim Banks wanted it to happen. I don't know how you'd read that and interpret it anything else. Mullen should have either recused himself or at least disclosed these ties before considering a challenge brought by a campaign that was basically financed by his close friend's political organization. Again, making the case, saying, look at the money, $1 million supporting Copenhagen. This group is clearly tied into Banks. Banks is my buddy. This guy votes. Now, they don't even mention here in this press release that he voted to put those people under oath, but then he votes to throw these ballots out. He's clearly making the allegation. In addition to being college friends, Mullen also represented Banks as an attorney in an election matter, and he was a longtime member of his campaign finance committee. Adding to the questions surrounding the process, the recount commission director selected to oversee the challenge was a former employee of Mullen. Whoa. Yikes. Not screwing around. Although, look, you can't if you're Deary, right? Your political life is on the line here, and he thinks he got screwed. Now, there's the political intrigue of all of this, right? But the court's got to cut through all of that. You and I, we can look at this and go, yeah, it's a red flag. What the court's ultimately got to look at is whether or not your vote can be disenfranchised because of government incompetence. The Mullen stuff, for Banks, for Rokita, for Copenhagen, whatever, the allegations there, that's not going to be considered by the court. That's a court of public opinion thing, why Deary's putting that out there. And, from a sheer tactical move, probably good on his part. The court should be looking at, can your vote, if you vote the right way, can your vote be nullified because of government incompetence? Now, we've seen in previous cases, not in Indiana, these various other states that have appealed elections, a lot of times like signatures weren't there, or signatures weren't accurate or whatever, right? And courts have given great deference to the vote itself. We have seen, even though election law wasn't followed to the letter or a ballot wasn't received on time, we've seen that stuff, right? Courts have typically given great deference to the voter because the vote is a sacred thing. Our whole country was founded on the idea of the vote. Taxation without representation. And when you take away someone's right to vote, look, if you choose not to use your right to vote, that's on you. If you try to vote in a place where you're not allowed to vote, that's on you. There are rules related to voting, but in this case, it appears that the vote is being canceled because of an action of the government. And if the courts say that you can start taking away someone's, and this is not whether I'm for Deary or against Deary or whatever. If Copenhagen wins and gets more votes, then good on her. What I'm talking about is, in the future, we're setting up a precedent by which potential nefarious actors, people who do want to have malicious intent, I don't think that happened here. I don't think there's a shred of proof of that. I think it's just a mistake, which happens. But it's happening with something very important, which is the vote in what just, unfortunately for these people, happened to be a very high-profile. Are you eating that with a wooden spoon? With a straw. Holy smokes. So I'm not trying to veer off here, but what do we got? We got nothing but time, right? When I went to Double D's, which we'll be telling you about here in a second, barbecue in Clayton the other day, Tina, our fabulous owner, had heard Jason say he loves banana pudding, and she gave me, they make banana pudding there at Double D's. She said, here's banana pudding, take it to Jason. It's in a cup, right? A sealed container. So I did. I refrigerated, took it home, brought it to Jason. Jason put it in the fridge. Goes, man, I want that banana pudding. He goes, I don't have a spoon. I'm going to go try to find one. And so he left. He comes back and he's eating. And so I assumed he found a spoon. I'm not paying any attention. And then it looks like he's got chopsticks and it looks like wooden. And he tells me, he says, no, it's a straw. He's eating the banana pudding through a straw. That's how desperate he was for the banana pudding. He's eating it through a straw. And he says it was worth it. We'll ask him about it during the YouTube chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. The real issue at play here is you are opening Pandora's box if you say somebody's vote does not count because the government didn't do their job properly. Quote, both Mullen and Secretary of State Diego Morales should reveal details of any communications their teams have had with either the Banks or Trump campaigns throughout this process. And Copenhaver and her attorneys, this is a big one. I think this is a big one too. And her attorneys should immediately reveal who is funding their legal campaign to change the result that was counted by the counties in District 23 and reaffirmed by the Independent State Board of Accounts. That's a big one. Remember, Copenhaver's pulling a Diego and don't want you to know who's paying her legal bills. Now, Stephen Whitmer and I were talking about this. I can't remember if it was on air or off air. I don't think he'd care if it was off air. Maybe it was on air. I think it was on air. Shouldn't that have to show up on a campaign finance report? If someone's paying your legal bills related to your campaign, which this clearly is, shouldn't this have to show up on a campaign finance report? But as we've seen, somebody can pay for, a Secretary of State to go to India for 10 days and do who knows what with who knows who. And our state is just fine with not knowing who paid for that. So Copenhaver's following the Diego lead, which is, hey, who paid for your legal bills? We'd like to know that. Who's supporting you right now? Smooch my butt cheeks. I'm not telling you, peasant. But yeah, you can really count on Paula Copenhaver being on your side when she's a state senator. She won't even tell you who's paying her bills. This is going to be fascinating to see because at the end of the day, Mullen can do whatever he wanted to do. For whatever reason, unless you got a smoking gun, which I don't think they do, he can do it. He can throw them out and keep them in. He can say people should be subpoenaed. He can say they shouldn't. The courts are going to have to decide. And what the court is going to look at is not the drama with Mullen and who Mullen's tied into. That's for us, the court of public opinion. The actual court of law is going to look at the question, can somebody have their vote disenfranchised because of a government screw-up when the person clearly intended to vote, they did vote, and who they voted for is clear? That's going to be a fascinating ruling. Spencer Deary will be with us on Monday to discuss. Speaking of double Ds, it's Mississippi farm-raised catfish tonight. That's the special. Friday and Saturday, double Ds are open Wednesday through Saturday. We were out there, on Wednesday. These days all run together now. Double D's Barbecue, located right there on 40. It's an easy trip. Went out there, did it myself, right there at 40 and 39. It's a great atmosphere. And when you go in, they want you to sign the wall that you were there. And Tina told me last night, I was talking with Tina, one of the owners. So the reason we do that, it's a tribute to Graceland. That's why they do it at Graceland. The walls at Graceland, you can sign them. And that's why she does that. So it's a family atmosphere, great food, ribs, brisket, and more. Mississippi farm-raised catfish is the special tonight and tomorrow. You can see the full menu at DDBBQ317. Winners of best ribs, best sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. You won't be disappointed. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. All right, we're going to take a break whenever Jason gets his seat back down. And when we come back, AES is speaking out. There's all this drama with AES, the power provider for Indianapolis, about their rate increase. Andy Zay, the former commissioner, now suing the governor over his removal from the board because he voted for the AES rate increase. AES has now finally spoken. And as I predicted, they're not taking any of this lying down. Like, you can say whatever you want, Governor. We're getting our money. We'll tell you what AES had to say about the proposed rate increase and what they want to see happen. When we come back, you're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
In Congress, I get all sorts of insider stock tips. Sure, I cashed in. It's my Beltway bonus. But now here comes Senator Todd Young with his total ban on congressional stock trades. Freaking Mr. Clean Marine.
Todd Young's got real guts taking us on. Young's gonna cost me millions.
Had enough of this? Contact Senator Todd Young to say thanks and let him know that you stand with his plan to ban stock trading for all members of Congress.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. Happy Friday. It's the Rob Kendall Show. You guys got a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? HOA, maybe they won't allow a fence. Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime they're outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All American Dog Fence. It's the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system that is designed to keep your dog secure anytime they're outside. Kelly and Jeff. Jeff's awesome, man. Kelly's great. Know them, gotten to know them. They're the owners of All American Dog Fence, big fans of our show. They so believed in this product, they bought it. They used it. They were like, this is amazing. We want to take the business over. All of their dog fence products, All American Dog Fence products are made right here in the United States of America, pet stop products, and they come with a lifetime warranty. All American Dog Fence. Call them for a free, no-obligation quote. If you've been thinking about ways to police your furry friend, let them go outside, let them do their thing, and you don't have to worry about them, All American Dog Fence. Man, when I had my bulldog Bruce, I would have loved. There were a couple times where I lived places where I didn't have a fence, and it was a nightmare to have to try to keep an eye on him and let him run around and roam and do his thing. I would have loved to have had All American Dog Fence. 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606, or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Allamericandogfence.com, 317-862-6606. Mention the Rob Kendall Show, get an incredible $200 off your product. You got no hassle, no obligation. Doesn't work out for you, it's fine. Just give them a call, find out what they got to offer. 317-862-6606. Mention the Rob Kendall Show. Get an incredible $200 off your product. All right, so AES is firing back. Uh-oh, I knocked it over. I knocked the Hulk Hogan over. I was trying to get my soda. Man down! We need a better stool. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the other one was already broken, man. That thing was holding on by a thread. Man down. People on the YouTube chat, you can see it. I forget, like there's a whole world of people who never see this program. Like a universe of people. And I hear it all the time. The majority of people listen on the on-demand platforms. Most of our actual listeners come on demand. And so sometimes I'll mention stuff that we're doing that's visual, and I forget, like, there's a whole universe of people who never see what we do. And so if you're like, what is he talking about? We have in our studio, to my right, to my right? Yes, it's my right. Your left if you're watching me, right? Anyway, we have a stool next to me, and I have little trinkets up there, and two of the trinkets are Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior figures, and I reached down to pick up my soda, and I knocked. What's wrong with trinkets? They're not action. I got them when I was 8 years old. They're not action figures. They don't do any action. They sit there, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, okay, whatever. They're designed to. They're not designed for anything. They're just designed to take up space. And the stable we have is not super sturdy, and I accidentally knocked it over. So that's what we're talking about. Anyway, all right, AES. They have now spoken in regards to this drama with their rate increase. So remember, before I get to what AES said, AES went in front of the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission and sought $191 million in rate increases. AES, for those of you who don't know, most of you do, but those of you don't, is the power provider for Marion County, most of Marion County. And AES had sought $191 million in rate increases. At sort of the same time, or right before this, the governor had appointed 3 new members to the IURC, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. One of those guys was Andy Zay, a former state senator. And Zay teamed up with 2 other members of the commission to vote for the rate increase of $71 million, far lower than the $191 million that AES had requested. Another thing that is worthy to mention, the IURC is like a court. Their job is to follow statutes put in place by the governor and the General Assembly. And so they can't just go in there if the utilities are meeting certain statutory requirements and say, well, we're not doing it because we don't feel like doing it. I mean, they can do that. It will go to court. They will get sued and they will lose. This is why for months I've been harping on the phoniness of Braun's quote-unquote affordability message to the IURC. The affordability message needs to be directed at the General Assembly if he actually wants to fix the issue, which I've long maintained Braun does not. I've long maintained Braun does not actually care about affordability, and he doesn't want this fixed because the Republicans and the Republican lawmakers are so in bed with the utilities. What Braun is looking to do here is make you think he cares. That's why when he's appointed all these IURC people, he's like, well, you got to fix this issue. Well, they can only do it to an extent. And part of what that means is the utilities have rights that are given to them by the General Assembly. Now, I may not like it. I don't, but they have it. If you want to fix it, you fix it through the General Assembly. The IURC just can't go, your rights are ignored. And that's what Andy Zay tried to say is, look, there's a process for this. They wanted $191 million based on what they could ask for and get. And what we felt was reasonable based on the statutes, we believed $71 million was the number. Remember, and nobody talks about this, there was a proposed settlement for $91 million, and that got rejected by the IURC. So what Zay voted for was actually less than the actual proposed settlement. And that's the case he tried to make. He's like, look, I did the best I could given the laws of our state. But Braun, because that makes Braun look bad, because now people are going, hey, Braun, your guy screwed everybody over. Now you own it, right? Braun blew a gasket because he wanted these dudes to unilaterally do whatever they wanted. And he has to know it was going to end up in court. But I don't think he cared because he wants the heat off him to say, well, I did it and the court said we couldn't. So what do you want me to do? This happens all the time with politicians. So AES, let me step back here. Andy Zay was then removed by Braun. We've laid that out to you in great detail. There's some really potentially shady things that I think happened as a part of that. And I'm not going to go into detail again. Past episodes this week, we've gone into detail on them. Zay is now suing Mike Braun, amongst numerous other people, to get his spot back on the IURC. He's saying the firing was illegal, and the cause that Braun gave, or that the state publicly gave, has not matched the cause that Braun gave on various radio programs. You can't fire some guy from the commission. The law does not let the governor fire a guy because he didn't do what you wanted. You don't serve at the pleasure of the governor with these positions. You can be fired for cause. You break state laws, ethics, whatever. But Braun has repeatedly mentioned that Zay didn't do what he wanted with AES. And Zay has said, and rightfully so, dude, you can't fire me for that. You can't get rid of me because I didn't do what you wanted. My job here is to follow the law. And if you're now admitting you fired me because of that, I want my spot back. And he has, in his lawsuit, really shredded the 4 cause claims that the Braun administration tried to make when he was initially fired. So Zay has said he's suing, saying, I want my spot back. Josh Bain, been on our show before. We like Josh, nice guy. Indianapolis City County Council member, was appointed to Zay's spot. AES is reading the tea leaves and saying Bain's probably going to vote against this rate increase. So AES now has stepped in and said, whoa. Until we get clarity on who our actual commissioners are legally, we're asking for a complete pause on all of this. Now, what's interesting, the Zay lawsuit, it's getting expedited, as it should be, because there's real serious world issues at play here. I think Zay is going to be able to put the governor under oath, which is going to be wild. Because there's been all sorts of rumors out there about emails that are floating around. Now, I've not been able to independently verify any of this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But I have heard from multiple sources that there are supposedly emails out there that aren't great for the governor. And one would assume, if those do exist, that they would come out in this lawsuit. And the idea of the governor getting put under oath, and then he's going to have to answer. I mean, if you put the governor under oath, which I don't understand why he wouldn't be able to. He's the party in the lawsuit. If you're going to be able to play those clips of him on WoWo and WIBC, where he's clearly saying, Zay, I mean, you guys heard him. I played them both for you. If you disagree, speak now or forever hold your peace. He fired him because he didn't do what he wanted at AES, and then forced Braun to explain why that's not true. That's going to be wild because the stories aren't matching up. That's going to be crazy if they allow the governor to be put under oath. So here's what AES said in light of all of this. AES Indiana respectfully submits that the allegations in the Zay complaint, if true, may well invalidate any attempted action by the commission on the OUCC and CAC petitions, so the Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, in which and Citizens Action Coalition are the acronyms there. OUCC, Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, CAC is the Citizens Action Coalition. Petitions in which Mr. Bain participated as a member of the commission and Mr. Zay did not. By the way, if you guys want to read more about this, Indiana Capitol Chronicle has a big article about this today, which is what I'm working from. So the hearing for Zay is scheduled to be August 27th. So 2 weeks from yesterday, Thursday. And it could be 2 days. And according to the Capitol Chronicle, before that, sides will trade discovery and depose key witnesses. So we're going to know here pretty soon, one, what actual evidence exists that Zay has, and if these emails that are alleged to exist, and what's in them. And two, we're going to know if Braun got put under oath and what he said. That's going to be spicy. The governor of the state getting put under oath and deposed is going to be crazy if it goes forward. Zay is seeking a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction, which would reestablish him back to the commission. Braun is claiming executive privilege, though no documents surrounding that were yet available in the case file. Zay has also confirmed now that the IURC has been added as a defendant. And attorney Steve Runyon, a partner with Indianapolis law firm Kroger, Gardis, and Regas. There's Kroger, Gardis, and Regas again. They were representing Copenhagen. See how this stuff all ties together? I mean, I'm not saying there's a direct connection, but it's like always all the same players. The same people are representing Copenhagen are the people that are representing the governor. Interesting. AES went on to argue that any adverse action to AES Indiana with Bain as a commissioner, quote, would necessarily have to be addressed in any judicial review proceeding then initiated by AES. They're basically saying this: we will take this to court. If you guys don't hold off on this, this will go to court because what they had wanted to do is do this review of the AES case, and now they really want to do it with Bain being in there and AES, and they're probably right. Look, I'm loath to be on the side of AES for anything, but they're probably right saying, look, there's this very legitimate lawsuit out there. It's clearly going to be decided in a couple weeks. You guys need to just hold off until we know who the commissioners are actually going to be before you guys make us go through this rigmarole of having to present all of this evidence, and then it's not even to the right people. So fascinating stuff. We'll see what happens. Hey, guys, our buddy Anthony Gary, Indie Dwell Real Estate. If you're looking to buy a home, Anthony's your guy. Indie Dwell Real Estate doesn't just show houses, and Anthony and Indie Dwell Real Estate finds you homes with everything you're looking for, explains your options, and gets your offer accepted without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony's got an expert buying strategy and experience, and he'd love to get to work for you. 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159. Anthony Gary, Indie Dwell Real Estate. He would love to get to work for you. 317-756-1159. All right, couple of reminders. We're coming up on hour 3 here momentarily. That's, of course, brought to you by the great John Rust. And a reminder, there's a big old bash going on. John Rust having a party at his house on Saturday, October the 3rd, and you are invited. All the listeners, all the viewers of the Rob Kendall Show, invited to be a part of that with us. And here's what we got. It's celebration of America's 250th birthday, so there's going to be patriotic music. There's going to be an antique car show. Lunch is going to be catered by Double D's. We got birthday cake for Jason's birthday, Tina's birthday from Double D's as well. And I'm going to give a speech about how great the country is. All amazing stuff. All you got to do to participate, send an email. rustforamerica@gmail.com. rustforamerica@gmail.com. And tell John, here's my name. Here's how many people I'm bringing with me. And bammo, you're in. No cost to attend. Totally free, put on by the generosity of John Rust. There's going to be, we hope, a couple hundred people there. Great attendance, RSVP so far. So come hang out with us. Let John know you're coming. rustforamerica@gmail.com. And you can be with us Saturday, October the 3rd. Oktoberfest is going on in Seymour that day. So the event starts at noon. Once you're done there, go out and hang out at Oktoberfest. I think that's right. That's going on then. rustforamerica@gmail.com. One other housekeeping item. Wanted to remind you guys, we do have a website, robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. We got the live link there. We've got all of our on-demand platforms. If you're like, what's the link to get you guys on Apple or Spotify or iHeart or all the places that we're at, you can, bam, right there, find them. We've got articles each day that we post from the show, our favorite articles. I don't think we did them yesterday. I got super busy yesterday. Had a whole bunch of stuff going on. But most days we have articles, our favorite articles from the best segments we do each day. And then, of course, the support buttons. Let me tell you about the support button. You know, if you like what we do, if you love this show, if you're like, hey, I want to support the Rob Kendall Show, here's 10 hard-earned U.S. dollars. You can do that. There's a support button right there, top of the page. And what an incredible deal right now. Here in just a little bit, we're going to have the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Our guy, John McKinney, who owns Black Sheep Plumbing. The month of August, any amount you give to the Rob Kendall Show, up to $100, he's going to double it in a plumbing credit if you need Black Sheep Plumbing for the month of August. So you give $50, I send you an email, say, thanks, you're an awesome American. We appreciate you supporting us. John McKinney then is going to, if you need a toilet changed or sink fixed or new water softener, whatever it might be, you call John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing. You say, hey, John, I need you to come out and do whatever the job is. Oh, and I got this email from Rob thanking me for supporting the show. He's going to double that, whatever the number you gave in a plumbing credit, up to $100 for the month of August. So there you go. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're rolling the rest of the way. We got the best YouTube comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Hour 3 is going to be upon us. Don't go anywhere. You're watching. You're listening to The Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indie Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Hour 3 brought to you by the great John Rust. New polling out about the Democrats and the prediction market. That's fascinating. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. We're going to wrap up a little bit early today, guys. I got a bunch of stuff. Here's the thing about owning a small business. There's never enough time. And you got to work around everybody else's schedule. So we're going to wrap up just a little bit early today. We're still get the YouTube chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. All of that stuff. I got a bunch of content to get to this hour. But Monday, and one of the things I got to go do is we got to record this interview with Spencer Deary, who is the state senator involved in this now court case with the recount. That's going to be fascinating. So that'll be Monday for you guys to look forward to. You know, it's weird because we always talk about this on the show before. Your life is like in pockets, if you think about it, or like cubicles. Like if you look back on your life, if you've had any sort of age behind you, and it's like, okay, so for a while my life was this, and that's one box. And then you sort of like put that box aside. Stages. Yeah, that's probably the best way to word it. And then, you're in this box, and then you graduate out of that, and then you go to the next box. For me, my early life, early adult life, I was a business owner. I mean, that's for the first, I don't know, 10, 12 years of adulthood. That's what I did. I earned a living. We created stuff. We made stuff. And then ended up working at the state for a while, and then ended up at WIBC. And so there's pockets where I wasn't, but my whole life had been basically a business owner. So you always remember things that, you guys this way, that in the past you always remember things more fondly than they actually were. Like you only remember the good stuff and not the bad. And like I look back on owning a business and it's like, oh, that was so much fun. That was great. Staying up till 3 a.m, waking up at noon, eating SpaghettiOs for breakfast. That was awesome, man. Do whatever the hell you want to do. Nobody to be accountable to. Then you forget about all the damn paperwork. Stuff that goes on. I was talking with a couple business owners last night about that, about how we do, paperwork and accountants and all that stuff. And it's just like, if you guys have never owned a business, holy smokes, there's a lot of stuff involved in it. And it's like, I get asked times like, do you like what you're doing now? Oh, I love this. I just loathe all the paperwork side. Thanks to our fabulous friends in the government. But, you got to do it, right? And it's like you forget about all of these things when you're fondly remembering how life used to be. I also didn't have a 3-year-old, so I had a lot more free time than I do now. So maybe it didn't seem as daunting back then. But anyway, we're going to wrap up just a little bit early today, and then we'll be back here, gangbusters, on Monday. But one story I did want to touch on before we bring Jason in for the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. There are these political prediction markets, and they're sort of, in many cases, for the people sort of in the know, they're kind of taking over validity from polling because it's real money. People are really putting money into the prediction markets. Betting on politics is illegal. This is basically betting on politics, but it's a way around it. The federal government has recognized wagering on politics through the prediction market is a legal thing. Now, what's fascinating is there are a whole bunch of states that are suing the prediction markets people, especially as it relates to betting on politics. The prediction market people aren't doing anything wrong as far as the federal government's concerned. The federal government has recognized the prediction market and said, you put your money in it, and we're not going to bother you. The states, though, are suing these prediction market companies. The big one is Kalshi. And then there's the Poly Market, I think, is the other one. There's a couple of really big ones. But anyway, people pay attention to it because it's real money. It's like sports betting. Like when I bet $5, right? $5 on a game. I lose, well, whatever, right? And I'm competitive, so I hate to lose. But it's not like I'm going to miss the money. And speaking of sports betting, next Wednesday, our first sports betting show drops. Pigskins, Plays, and Props. Pigskin Plays and Props, our guy Kenny Britt, myself, we're just going to have some fun talking about sports betting, talking about bets that we like, things we don't like. It's going to be a ton of fun, and we can't wait to do that for you guys. It's the first show scheduled to drop on Wednesday of next week. Just a fun 30 minutes each week. Now, back to the sports betting market, though. You don't look at the guys like me because I'm just having fun. $5 in, $5 out. What you look at is what they call the sharp money. SHRP, the sharp money. The sharp money usually comes in late. Sharps like to see the odds. They like to let them move. They like to let them settle. And then they drop their cash in at the end. Sometimes you'll see big movements in lines in the last, hour before a game because the sharps have come in. And those are the guys playing for keeps. They're not betting $5. They're eating or not eating based on the outcome of a game. So there's validity. It doesn't mean they're right. They get it wrong all the time, obviously, right? The casino, the betting houses, they're in it to make money, and they do. That's why they're there. I always say that's why they have the big buildings in Vegas. You live where you live, and I live where I live. But you do pay attention to the sharp money because that money is eaten money. So with the Kalshi stuff and the poly market, the predictive market stuff on politics, people are starting to look at that because it's real money. If a pollster's wrong, well, it's just their reputation, right? They'll get money from somebody else and go do another poll. There's no actual harm. The predictive market is actual money that it's not called wagering, but that's basically what they're doing. And so the predictive market right now for the Democrat nomination for president is in on AOC. According to The Independent, as of Wednesday evening, 21% of traders, that's what they're called in the poly market deal. It's not sports betting, it's trading. 21% of traders backed the New York progressive AOC who was trailed by California Governor Gavin Newsom at 17%. So in the money market, like actual people putting their money on the line, they're saying they think it's going to be AOC right now. Now, these things move. They change rapidly. It's like odds in a sports betting thing. They change, they move, which is fascinating because actual polling, like actual traditional, hey, I get somebody on the phone or I get them on a text, who you voting for, puts Kamala Harris as the favorite. Newsom is second in there, but AOC is way down in fourth place. Really interesting stuff in which the political predictive market, which is essentially political betting for all intents and purposes, even though it's not called that, the betting market is in on AOC, but the polling market says right now Kamala is the preferred choice. So clearly, people think AOC, who put the money in, think AOC, go make a big move. That's very interesting. I'm into that. I love that. And I love, you guys know I love watching sports betting. Like, it's fascinating to me. I love watching people who have got something to lose. Again, it's no big deal to me. I don't have anything to lose. I always look at it, and we've talked about this before. I think we talked about this last time with Kenny Britt. I bet $5 if I lose it, I got 3 hours of entertainment for $5 on a football game. Where in the world can you get 3 hours of entertainment for $5? The answer is nowhere. So it doesn't matter to me. But I love watching the sports bettors who have something to lose because they got stuff on the line. I'm also so into sports betting that if I know someone else has a bet on a game, I can cheer based on just that. And whether I like the person and want them to win or lose money or not. So, for instance, like Hammer and Nigel had a bet on the Colts game last night. I don't do preseason football, but I was cheering based on, wanting those guys to win their bet. I got a free joy that way. So anyway, by the way, I did something last night I haven't done in years. I have a fantasy football team this year. Jason used to do fantasy football. We can ask him about that. He used to be really big into the fantasy football. I have not done fantasy football in years, and my old pal, our pal, friend of the show, Ben Verbanek, has a fantasy football league. So I told him, yeah, okay, I'll get in the fantasy football league with you. And so I'm in. I have a team. They got on me. You guys tell me, any of you guys, if you're fantasy football players, let me know in the YouTube chat. They got on me because fantasy football, you draft by positions. And the positions get, for those of you who don't know, they get points in different ways. You draft a team just like an NFL team, and then each position on offense, and you have a defense, gets points in different ways. So you try to draft players you think they're going to get the most points. Now, in the fantasy football, they have a tight end position, which you can draft, but then they have flex, where it can be a wide receiver, it could be a tight end, it could be a running back. I drafted 2 tight ends as my flex guys, and the guys in the fantasy football league were giving me crap, and I'm like, look, quarterbacks use their tight ends now all the time. I got Loveland from the Bears. I got Warren from the Colts, and I got Kittle from the 49ers. I'm all in on the tight ends this year. The team is going to sink or swim based on how the tight ends do. Some of you guys may be fantasy football experts and think I'm an idiot, but that's what I'm going with. A lot of checkdowns. I see a lot of checkdowns from the Bears and the Colts. We'll see what happens. Hey, you guys got a masonry color mismatch? Previous repair catching your eye? Not happy with the brick color on your home and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, you want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, beauty built to endure, BramwellMackay.com. And with that, it is time for the man who once used to dominate fantasy football leagues across the fruited plain.
Yes, I was.
I used to hear about it all the time. Not because I wanted to.
3-time champion.
You won your league 3 times?
Oh, 3 times. Well, it wasn't a league. It was the Yahoo. They stick you in a league and with other Yahoos.
Yeah. You didn't know your competitors.
Didn't know. Well, one year I was in with J-Man, my son.
Yeah.
And he beat me that year. But
Your team was
so I don't play with him anymore.
Run Forest Run. Wasn't that your team?
Run Forest Run was one. And then, let's see, Favre dollar footlongs. Brett Favre dollar footlongs.
When that was a thing. Think about how far we've come. What is there ain't no $5 footlongs anymore.
You can't even get a 6-inch for $5 anymore. Well, maybe they've got that deal, but I've been to Subway. I mean, to me, that's outrageously expensive.
You used to go all the time to Subway.
Oh, I used to every day. Yeah. And they would give me a free cookie.
That's right.
But that was when they had $5 footlongs. But
I used to hear about your fantasy football teams all the time.
Yes.
I don't see myself being an update my fantasy football team kind of guy.
I don't even know who play. I don't know the players anymore. It's just they're so transient anymore. Like college, I just don't even know who they are anymore. So I don't play. That was the thing.
Well, Ben wanted me to play, so I thought I might help him out.
I'm retired. All right, guy who's not retired and would love your business. John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing.
That's right.
There we go. Make sure I'm up there. Okay, Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. Owner John McKinney, you know him as a Hoosier lifer. He takes great pride, stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs of Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee. Water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Give John a call or text 765-315-7558, 765-315-7558, Black Sheep Plumbing.
Oh, I forgot to say, it was a good couple days for me. You know what's back?
Do we make money?
The Arby's coupons are back.
Okay.
The Arby's coupons, like, you guys, this is a long-standing bit that we've done here, and I mean, it's true. I absolutely do use them. Like, I used to collect Arby's coupons because I eat at Arby's, or used to, almost every day for lunch. Not nearly as much now, and Arby's is so expensive, I could only eat there if I had the coupons. And so listeners would literally send me their coupons, like in the mail to the radio station.
Right.
And the local that flyer thing you get with it's just made up of coupons. You know, you get the book each month.
Sure.
Used to always have Arby's coupons in there, and like the past 3 or 4 months, no coupons. And now they're back. The Arby's coupons are back. People have been giving me the Arby's coupons again. So now I can afford the French dip sub again.
Well,
so I'm going today to get myself a French dip sub.
All right. Adam Baltus points out that Kittle is always injured.
Yeah, that's why he was so far down the list. But that's what I'm saying. As a flex, I'm not bound into having.
Well, if you've got more than one tight end, then you're
I got 3 of them. And I got receivers on the bench. My top bench guy is Addison, that receiver for the Vikings. I think I'm going to be playing him a lot this year, too.
All right. Ooh, what's this? Okay. So we start in the chat. McLovins was first last night in the chat at 8 o'clock because I was derelict in my duties. I was out doing things and as you know, and didn't get it posted till 8 o'clock. You want to see some pissed off pit bulls?
Were they mad?
They weren't mad. They were just like, where's the chat? We're here. You're not. You said you would be here. You're not. So trust me, guys, tonight, 6 p.m. sharp, I will be home. I will set the alarm. I will make sure it's
and
there.
I sent you the title early yesterday.
You did. It was about 5:30, but I wasn't. I
had a bunch of stuff to go do.
Right. It was a busy night last night.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Learned my
all
lesson.
Over the place.
Learned my lesson, though. That chat will be there because we do appreciate everybody in the chat, so we don't want to run them off. We don't want them to be standing there. I felt like they were standing outside the door waiting, and there's nothing more that pisses you off more when the business doesn't open.
Yeah.
You're standing outside waiting. Even no matter how much you love the business, somebody needs to pick up the pace here.
And here's the thing. We've laid this out, and it's not always true, but basically from like 5:30 to 8:30, I mean, I will occasionally do social media, but rarely because that's when, my kid gets off daycare and I want to spend time with my kid. I'll text with people, etc.
Right.
But I don't usually do a whole lot of social media during there are exceptions to it. But the point is, I got my kid, so I try to get Jason stuff before I go get Livy. And then I had my fantasy football draft last night, so I was tied up doing that. So it was super busy. So I'm a little sad. I got you the thing early, and it didn't translate.
Well,
to
don't
early?
let that stop you from getting it to me early. Again, tonight's big night because it's Friday, so we got the whole weekend chat to go.
Well, I know it's going to be. It's going to be the Spencer Deary interview, so
Okay.
I already got that.
All
I'll
right,
get that over. I
excellent.
get that over to you at noon today.
All right, guys. It'll be totally my fault then if it's if it's not up. So, but I do my best. I try. All right.
I mean, I think we get a lot done for two guys.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, look at all we accomplished with two people.
It's not like we just sit here and chat or sit here and talk all day. Yeah.
No. I mean, like the big. Look, if I didn't have to run the business side of it, I could get infinitely more stuff done with this show. The paperwork and all that other stuff is, the biggest part of it. And I like doing it, but it's, or not the paperwork side, but all the other stuff. But yeah, I think we get a lot done for two guys.
By the way, I'm just going to, for the people listening on the audio, I know you can't see this, but I'm going to roll this around. People can see just a little bit of Schrog's. There's that T-shirt. If you're looking on the webcast, that's the Schrog, the Diego and Rob T-shirt. It's right there behind me, Schrog. So it did not go away. It's right there, and we admire it on a daily basis. Now I'll get back up to the mic.
I pay.
There we go. All right, am I centered? Nope.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
There we go. Oh, going the wrong way. There we go. Now I'm back in it. All righty then. Let's get started. Again, McLovin's was first last night, but today, I don't know, we got here. Oh, I was in the chat last night because I went in to apologize and then got caught up in the chatting and racked up a ton of XP points. I'm probably still up there. Well, I'm probably not in the top 10 now, but as of earlier today, I was still in the top 10, which Josh Richardson pointed out at Producer Jason, the kind of guy who doesn't chat since yesterday and still stays in the top 10. Legend.
It's like you see this a lot. Like pitchers. Sandy Koufax may be the greatest pitcher of all time. He was injured. He had a very short career. It was like 10 great years. Pedro Martinez was kind of that way. That's you with the chatting. You acquire all sorts of wins, all sorts of points in this case, in a very short period of time, which we have to make you then one of the greatest, even though your career as a chatter was not as prolonged as some of the others.
Okay. Not sure what any of that means, but...
I'm saying you racked up a bunch of points in a very short amount of time.
Okay, there we go. And don't forget I'm a legend.
It's not a Cy Young, but it's points in the
and MLM Warriors, he's our statistician, just reiterated that Jason was number one last night. I was. And I let them all know about it, too.
Sandy Koufax, first ballot Hall of Famer. Pedro, Hall of Famer, even though they had short careers, tons of dominance in the time they played the game.
I enjoyed gloating about it. And then when I dropped down to number 4, I got pissed off and left.
Couldn't keep up?
I didn't get pissed off. The 06, I couldn't keep up. 0601 O-Board, good morning, soggy people. MLM Warriors, Rob has not earned my like yet, but this was before the show started.
So. Oh, okay.
Okay. MLM Warriors, new green shirt.
Nope.
You've had that one before. That was a big discussion last night. I let them know you got a new stash of shirts, so you could be switching it up, not the same 5 pastels anymore. All right. Yeah, Spray Jockey. It's green. All right. The old man who had green for the win. Kevin Branham. Good morning, Rob and Jason. Jim Tennecore. Good morning, everyone from Vegas.
Oh, looky him.
Yeah, can't wait for a killer show.
Good on him.
Hopefully he wasn't disappointed. Spray Jockey, Ma Kendall, does such a nice job.
Does awesome.
On the shirts. Spray Jockey also added, if the rain is an emergency, maybe they will cancel property taxes. Braun, it's an emergency out there. We got some flooding. Cancel those property taxes. Yeah. The 0601 O-Board, you will be charged extra property taxes for having a protected wetlands on your property. Yeah, they get you. They'll get you. C. Mills in the chat. Everybody was asking earlier what happened to C. Mills, and he's in. Good morning, all. Happy Friday. Let's get this rainy day over with so we can start the weekend ready for another great show. Wasn't on the chat much yesterday, but I'm always here.
I heard from C. Mills last night, and it was good to hear from him. I'm glad he's doing better despite his rather serious injury.
Yeah, Kevin Branham, we were standing at the door waiting last night. So I knew you were there, and it killed me. Okay. What's that? Hold on. There was another one here. What's the something about my belt? Would that have been Schrog? Nope. Okay. I appreciate that, producer Belt. There we go. All right. The old man, 68. Can we please stop with the Bears talk until a decision is made? I don't want to waste my time discussing it. It really wasn't about the Bears.
No, the topic was not the Bears. The topic was that you have a U.S. senator and a state rep who are in charge of you and every facet of your life and stuff way more important than the Bears sharing clearly erroneous information. And if their decision-making is that poor, I mean, it was not like they were sharing a guy from the Chicago Tribune or the Sun-Times or some super plugged-in dude.
Or Rob Kendall.
Kendall. It was like, what are you doing? And then there's no, hey, man, sorry, we really screwed that up. That was the point of the segment, is that you have these people in immensely powerful positions who some of them rail on fake news, and they're big fake news.
Mm-hmm. I'm number 13 in the chat right now, so with my points.
Still?
I was chatting up a storm last night.
Wow.
Great people. Great family of chatters. All right. Spray Jockey just turned on the TV to watch Rob.
Oh, yes. Thank
Rob
you.
on the big screen. Looks a lot different than Rob on the little screen. Spray Jockey adds, I hope Illinois gets their crap together enough to keep the Bears, because we don't want them. Mad Duck, yeah, they're going to stay in Illinois, and somehow we're going to pay for it. Well, how much are we wasting right now just in the courting of them?
Well, here's what I can't
You think
figure
Braun's helicopter ride up to Hammond isn't costing an arm and a leg for that fuel?
Here's what I can't figure out, because all inclinations say they're going to Indiana. But I can't fathom, even as inept as Illinois is, that the mayor would want to be the mayor who gets remembered and the governor would be one of the governor who gets remembered as the people who let the Bears get away.
Well, they could also be remembered as the mayor and the governor that forced Indiana to pay for the Chicago Bears, even though they're still going to be the Chicago Bears, much like most people would have no clue the New York Jets and New York Giants don't actually play in New York.
Yeah.
They play in the Meadowlands or they play in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So it's not like a unique thing, but Chicago wouldn't have to pay a dime.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess the theory maybe is, okay, well, if we're still going to get most of the business out of it anyway, let them go to Indiana. I don't know. I mean, it's such a bad PR hit, but maybe it is. Maybe Indiana will be Indiana's definitely that stupid, but maybe Chicago, maybe these people are starting to give them credit for.
All right, and speaking about that news that you were talking about there, Chris Ward, I believe Chris might be new into the chat. No one wants to be correct. Everyone wants to be first. This is our news cycle. Happy Friday, everyone.
Well, that's what was weird to me, is it's like the whole thing emanated out of a guy with no, Adam Schefter is the big ESPN guy, right? If Adam Schefter says it, you're like, okay, bam, it's happening, because he's just right over and over and over and over again. He's totally plugged in to all the sources. He's the guy. If you had back in the day, if Mike Royko told you something, you're taking it to the bank, the old Chicago Tribune writer. But this is not. That is some random dude on the internet, and then everybody starts running with it. Like, what are we doing?
Speaking of breaking news, Spray Jockey, I'm hoping to find out today if Todd Young was a Marine. All right, Chris Ward, he was a Marine? ? Josh Richardson, I read on Twitter that Todd Young is a Marine. Bob Schwarm, Young is a Marine. I wonder who is more battle-hardened, him or Bo Bai?
Bob used to own All American Dog Fence. It was Indiana Dog Fence.
Oh,
Bob
that's that
it.
Bob.
Yeah, that's that Bob. That's
Dogs.
Bob. Yep.
Okay.
Bob will tell you how great the company is.
Okay. Spray Jockey, John McKinney, do you redo bathrooms?
Oh, we're getting a little...
Yeah, there we go. John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing. Do you do bathrooms? I know he's going to put a vanity in for my mom. So,
is he?
So that's partial bathroom, and he replaces toilets. So that's the other part. Not sure what's left. Oh, the shower. Okay, I don't know. John, do you do bathrooms?
I love that. All
right. Or you could give him a call, or actually, you could. That's a text question.
Yeah.
You could text John 765-315-7558.
I love that you know without even having to look. That's pretty talented.
Sir. It only took 7 months.
Yeah.
But you could text him and ask him that. I think he would answer back. Spray Jockey.
Let's see if I can get it right. 765-315-7558.
Yep, a lot of fives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
5 for 5 deal. There we go. $5 footlongs. Spray Jockey, I will probably need to donate $10 million to the Rob Kendall Show. That would be a $20 million credit.
It would not, because there's a $100 limit.
Oh, Well, Spray Jockey, if you've already donated, we do appreciate it, but you get no refunds, no returns, and you'll get your $200 credit. Okay, sorry about your luck. Read the fine print.
I think we've said it numerous times.
Yeah. All right. 06010 board. Bramwell Mackay might need a little less business after this week. Yeah, because they do the leaky roof. Yeah, probably a lot of leaky roofs out there. Probably a lot of storm drain damage. Probably a lot of chimney damage. So Bramwell Mackay, phone ringing off the hook.
Well,
Still tell him you heard it on Rob's show.
It is interesting, right? Because we had Jeremiah Morrill on, who's a great guy, and either in East Central Indiana, and talking about how he's using his sump pump to try to help his neighbors. And you think about in this advanced technological age, hey, everything's already covered. No, we're still a society where we largely depend on people taking care of each other. And so I just thought that was very, warming to hear that, even with all this stuff going on, that, hey, people are still out there helping each other get back on their feet.
Charles Ludi, the like count totals are a little lean today. Did we scare off the hate listeners? Fridays are usually a little lean.
That was that way at the radio station, too. I've never figured out why Fridays are almost always. Now, we get a bunch of hits over the weekend.
Right.
So we end up with actually bigger numbers usually by Monday.
Right.
But for some reason, and it was with the radio station, too, it always seemed like Fridays were down, and I don't know why that is.
All right, Vic Ferrari. Jesse Brown is a truthful buffoon.
Truthful.
Vic Ferrari also adds that John Wayne Gacy was a heck of a nice guy, too, Rob.
Well, if you want to compare Brown to Gacy, now.
Well, was Gacy a socialist, though?
No, Gacy was a Democrat. He was huge in the There's a famous photo of Gacy and Rosalind Carter together when she was first lady. It's a very, very famous picture. He was big in the Democrat Party. He was a ward chair, or whatever they call him up there. He was super plugged in.
Ethan Hatcher. Some members of the Republican media say you shouldn't give socialists a platform. Just think what we would do, or just think what we would have lost if Rob took that advice.
We are free speech people. We are people who are, we promote interesting people. I've always said this. You, the audience, are smart. My job in an interview is to let people talk because you're smart and you'll figure it out. That's what I've always said with interviews. I approach the interview.
You got to know those people are out there too. I mean, that's,
of course.
Yeah.
They're a huge portion of the American populace. Now, what they say, 25%, whatever the number was, there's a huge percentage of people who identify with Jesse Brown.
Oh, yeah. And it's growing every day.
It would be a dereliction of duty. He's an elected official. He's not just some guy off the street. He's one of the 25 most powerful people in the city of Indianapolis to have a conversation with him.
He's not trying to dupe you. He's just
he's not totally honest, right? He's an elected person. He's a legitimate human. The idea that you would not interview elected officials because you don't like their position is crazy. Now, we've always said this about the elected officials. I don't do a lot of it because they're boring. Most of them are boring, and they don't add anything. Brown's entertaining because he says all the stuff.
Especially if you just agree with them the entire show.
A lot of them are just like dry paint. He's entertaining. He's interesting. He's insane. But it's, at the end of the day, we come back to this. We've never hid from this. I don't know why some people think it'd be weird to acknowledge it. We're entertainers. Our job is to entertain. The number one job I have here and the number one job I had at the place I had before, and I did it damn well, and I do it damn well now, is to make you want to listen every day.
Yeah, it's not a news show.
No, I'm a commentator. I commentate on the news. Now, I believe what I say about these politicians. I loathe them. But my job is to present it to you in a fashion where you're like, I can't wait to see what Rob has to say today. Look, free speech is for all speech. Whether you,
I think whether
you like it or not.
Yeah, I think one like me for when I used to watch Fox News all the time, and then they'd bring on the most demented liberal they could find, and you'd get angry like, why are you giving them airtime? This should be Republicans. This should be conservative. Which is in my mind saying, okay, it should only be one side I should be seeing because I don't want to see the other side. But it's more about the arrogance and the kookiness of the guest. Because they get the craziest people they could find. Not that Jesse's not crazy, but they get, and you don't like them. Jesse's a likable guy.
He is.
He's just crazy, but he's a likable guy. Just politically, you certainly don't agree with him, but so I mean, you keep saying honest. I mean, well, a lot of people are honest, and they can be crazy, but he just has it's like he's a likable guy, and he didn't present his facts like, well, Rob, you're an idiot because you don't agree with me.
Well, but when I talk about honest, okay, here's an example. Let's take Engling. Let's use Max Engling as an example.
Mm-hmm.
He's keeping up this facade like he didn't know about this group.
Mm-hmm.
He's keeping up the facade. We didn't know whether we could accept the donation or what they were. He's tried to say, well, we're not even sure we had to give it back. That's bull.
Mm-hmm.
You knew exactly who these people were. You knew your boss was affiliated with them.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the internet, according to the complainant, Shelton, promoting them and their status. You're the special guest at their event 11 days before you get the donation, according to the flyer that went out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know who they are. You're not being honest. Stop with the crap. Like, I would much rather have a conversation with Jesse Brown, who is like, here's what I am, here's what I believe, here's what I do, here's what I think. If you don't like it, too bad. Versus that. How are you going to have a conversation with that other than to call it out? Like that. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about being honest.
All right. Rusty B, Rusted Bolt Garage, changed his name to Rusty B. So when I say Rusty B, that used to be Rusted Bolt Garage.
You can do that?
Yeah, you can do that on, yeah. Well, McLovins did it. Remember when we got McLovins to change her name to McLovins? She was not always McLovins.
No kidding.
It was something else, I forget. And then I kept calling her McLovins, and so she changed it to McLovins.
No kidding. And, I don't remember that at all.
Rusted Bolt Garage, although that was a cool name. Had no problem with that. He decided Rusty B77 would be more identifiable. He says Jesse is a Fruit Loop.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Mark Tribble. I'd rather hear Rob argue with a socialist than kissing a Republican lawmaker's ass. I think that's what you're trying to get across.
Yeah, I think we hold all of these people accountable, whether it's a Republican, whether it's a Democrat. We had two, back to back, right? We had the Pointer guy in, and we went at it over, he said stuff I disagree with. He wants to get rid of all immigration. I'm not for that. We had a pushback on that. You can walk away from that having whatever opinion you want, whether I was right, he was right, whatever. I agree with him on getting rid of all illegal immigrants. Jesse Brown, I agree with Jesse on the data center moratorium. I disagree with him on the wheel tax. I certainly disagree with him on his wacky view on prisons and borders. We have to be able to have conversations. If anybody in this business who can't have conversations, first of all, you're doing a disservice to your audience.
Now, if he's, go ahead.
I mean, you're doing a disservice to your audience. Your audience deserves to hear the conversations. You're not elevating somebody by having a conversation. If anything, there's nobody who heard the conversation with Brown yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was, and walked away going, man, he swayed me. We pointed out, they have no plan for the prisons. They have no plan for the border. There's no person that heard that conversation and thought, he got me. I'm one of those guys now. But we had an important conversation, and you now know more about how those people view the world, which hopefully makes you more resolute in how you view the world. Like that is not elevating anybody. It's pointing out that's nuts. It's crazy.
But you don't have to hate the guy.
No.
All right. Peppy Frog. Producer Jason needs his own show.
I agree.
And a raise.
I'm open to that.
Okay, open to it. Okay. Let's see. We have.
What would you do a show about?
Let's see. Well, Mad Duck. Rob can do the morning show, and Jason can have an evening show. I don't work evenings. I can do afternoons. Let's see.
Well, if you had a show, what would you do it about?
Jason's show will start sometime between 6 and 8, says Spray Jockey. No, it won't, because that's when I'm winding down and going to bed to get my ass up at 6:30 in the morning. What would I do a show on? I don't know. I mean, I could walk in and just sit down and start doing a show, not like just sit down and start doing it. If I had a mindset to do it, I just don't have that mindset at this time of life to get started into.
Because you've done many shows.
Yeah. I don't want people hating me and have to worry about somebody shooting out my window or look out my window and see Todd Rokita standing down there with the SWAT team. Get swatted and stuff. I don't know that he does that, but I don't want him to do it to me. But
I don't think he's ever done any of that.
Nah, well, there's always first time. You haven't got a load of me yet.
There was an employee that went to the guy's house, though. Remember the Capital Chronicle got that article about the Rokita employee who went to the guy's house and threatened to prosecute him for stuff that he was he was saying about Todd. That did happen, but I don't think that was Rakeen. I don't think there was a SWAT team.
Okay, well, no, I don't. I mean, I could do a lifestyle kind of where just like the topics of the day type of show. I could do a hell of a chat.
Well, you used to have, this is something Jason always did very well. Remember when you had your live sports show and you used to go to the bars?
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that because you were good at like working the crowd. And
yeah, what we would do, a guy named Brian Giffen used to be the second chair for the Indianapolis Indians for several years and went on to work with the Minnesota Twins, my fault, and the Atlanta Braves. And but yeah, he and I used to do a sports talk show on 101.9 FM WKLU. For many years, and we would go to bars, and that was mainly our advertisers. So we would 2 or 3 days a week we'd go to bars. He would sit and do the trivia, and I would walk around the room with the microphone and get everybody involved, and it was a hootenanny.
GIF does the Double D's commercial.
Oh, that's right, GIF's voice. Yes, when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around.
That's GIF.
Yes, not screwing around. They're not screwing around. Anyway, okay.
GIF, like if you, Brian, if you like made a broadcaster in a factory, like a sports broadcaster, like a no-nonsense sports broadcaster, it would be Brian.
Yes,
he takes his sports broadcasting very seriously.
Very seriously. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. All right. Christy Avery, excited to see Jeremiah on with Rob.
We love Jeremiah, the Boss Hog of Liberty. Great guy. He's about to be a dad, which is awesome, and just a phenomenal human being.
I heard tell they've got the interstate fixed out that way now.
They do?
Okay. I think you can drive over it now. Even though we dropped that gas tax, I don't know how they were going to afford it, but they did it somehow. Mad Duck, picnic basket. Right. Bowden JM, wow, he's in Newcastle. Can't imagine the street flooding and house and business flooding there.
It's bad.
Yeah. Driver, watch this flood will destroy the land and data centers will try and scoop it up and build what they want. Yeah, good possibility. Christy Avery again. Jeremiah and the Boss Hog of Liberty are a great media source in East Central Indiana.
They do. That show every Thursday is awesome. They have all the local people on. It's like old-timey radio, except you can sit there and watch it. It's great. I love it. Love
okay, and where I got my information about 70 being open, MLM Warriors, State Road 38 is open, and I-70 West is open this morning.
There you go.
So we got it from MLM Warriors. It's fact. Let's see. Driver, a community that takes care of its people. Wow. Why can't we get that from the Statehouse? Again, talking about Jeremiah.
Yeah.
All right. Spray Jockey, the big question is did the Newcastle gym flood?
Well, okay, because I asked him about the Hoosier gym, the Knightstown gym, and he said no. I did not ask about the Newcastle. Most of you probably know this, but Newcastle has the largest high school gym in America. And it's a landmark, and of course the Indiana High School Basketball Hall of Fame is in Newcastle as well. We talked about the giant shoe that's outside the Basketball Hall of Fame. You know, one of the things that's interesting, like, so Henry County, Newcastle, it's outside the ring, right? You got the Marion County and then the donut counties that form the ring around Marion County. It's the county outside of that. I think in those counties, because they haven't had the explosive growth, there's still a lot of sense of community and neighborliness there that doesn't exist here anymore. Like, you know your neighbors and you know the people in your city or town. So I do think that's why you get more people taking care of each other, because it's sort of this generational intrinsic nature of pride in where you live and taking care of each other and knowing everybody.
Rusty, nobody would hate producer Jason. I wouldn't have to have I hate producer Jason shirt.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yep. Driver, Jason, give his take on the Rob show from the day before, kind of unpacking of the things he said. I think he's talking about the comments last night. I'm not really sure what that all means.
No, what you would do on your show.
Oh.
I think that's what he said you'd do on your show.
Okay, there we go. Probably read it wrong or he typoed there somewhere. Let's see. Rusty, show at a bar, count me in. And I knew this was coming. Jay, Indiana, producer Jason, random question. Did you narrate the Camp Adder Range safety video? Again, I should read these before I
You should.
Here. Okay, here we go. This was the one I saw and I was looking for, Spray Jockey. He could broadcast from a strip club. There we go. That would be we get Tatiana on as a guest. All right, back to the ones that have been vetted. Josh Richardson, seen pics of the Blue River in Knightstown yesterday. Water was just below the bridges.
Yeah.
It's always scary. Drive across a bridge and the water's very high. MLM Warriors, Rob's friendly too. Yeah. Okay.
I am personally very friendly. I am the public Rob and the private Rob. I'm very friendly because I don't engage with people that I don't like in my personal life.
Andy Engel, oh yeah, Double D's. I'm going there for lunch today. Double D's is a national treasure. Yeah.
And at some point, we're going to do a venture out. I'm going to do a venture out to the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. I do that every year as well. So I will be out there at some point and let you guys know when I'm going.
Andy adds, I want to go somewhere for barbecue that ain't screwing around. That's Double D's. Dustin Hornaday had the baked potato with pulled pork and then the brisket mac and cheese. So worth it. Delicious. Didn't even share with the wife and kid. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Charles Ludi. Am I the only one in the chat who hasn't been to Double D's? What am I doing? And he adds, or RSVP'd to the Rust event. He hasn't RSVP'd
Come
yet.
on, Charles. Rust for America, gmail.com.
Now, Charles, I'm one up on you because I have not been to Double D's either, but as of this morning, I have had Double D's food with the awesome banana pudding cup. I had to eat it with a straw. It was still tasty. I was actually able to drink a little bit of it. So very, very tasty. Had the banana chips or whatever in there and the vanilla wafers, and it was pretty awesome. But I would like to have some brisket too. So maybe, Rob, next time you could bring me some brisket.
Sure, I'll put that on the
MLM
list.
Warriors. Rob earned my thumbs up.
Thank you.
There we go. And the like. Chris Chafin, Micah Beckwith, hit that thumbs up. All right. Well, we got time here. Robert Schwartz, and Diego Morales will be the one looking at the election come this fall. Might be another part of his deal to avoid investigation if he helps Ingling win.
I have no idea on any of that. I just know I do not think we should be throwing out people's votes because government made a mistake.
Don B, is Bo Bai's gun-filled TV ad scaring Democrats away from voting? Why not? They believe guns are bad. Yeah, have you seen his commercial?
I know it's out. I've not seen it
It's
yet.
a little over the top. It's like, come on, dude. He's like at a shooting range, and then it shows him as a Marine. Did you know Bo Bai's a Marine?
Oh, we're going to start one of those again.
And so let's see, out of the three, only...
Ballard was,
I look at it
too.
this way. What's that?
Ballard was, too.
Ballard was a Marine, too. Who's the third that wasn't a Marine or wasn't in the...
Ingling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I look at it this way. When people... I give Bo Bai this. Everybody talks about him having a silver spoon. Anytime a rich guy joins the military, doesn't have to because of schooling or whatever, I think you got to give him some points for that.
I agree.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm voting for the guy, but I mean, I think that does add credibility.
Sure.
I mean, even do a Todd Young, whatever. Now, maybe Todd was poor and needed to go to college through the GI Bill or something, but but still, thank you for your service, Todd, and thanks, Bo, for your service, and Ballard for your service. But again, Bo Bai did not have to join the military.
No, well, and this is
slid through on Dad's money.
And this is what I say, like even like Destiny Wells. Okay, we have a fun history together, right? Certainly not a fan of Destiny Wells. She served her country. Pete Buttigieg served his country. Brandon Sackman, the mayor in Terre Haute, served his country.
Right.
These people all were willing to wear the uniform and die. So, like, when I see people say, you're a traitor to your country if you vote for a Democrat. Well, no, you're not. I don't agree with your vote, maybe necessarily. Of course, a lot of times the Republican don't agree with it either.
If you're a nutty socialist Democrat, then you're, but
I mean, there's all these Democrats who were willing to wear the uniform. They were willing to go fight and die. And I think there's a lot of Democrats who love their country very much. They may be wrong in their views of it, but it doesn't mean they don't love their country. It doesn't mean they're a traitor to their country. And like, you're exactly right about Bo Bai. Whether I vote for him or not, he wore the uniform. He was willing to go fight and die. Now, is he going to milk it in the campaign? Probably, right? Am I going to get nauseated with him like I do Young? Maybe.
When he's out there crawling in the mud, I think he deserves to be able to.
But I mean, come on, man! Like, we got to be able to have conversations about political differences without calling somebody a traitor because they vote for somebody. That's ridiculous.
Chris Chafin, I want to be the one to throw out ballots. How do I get that job?
You got to be very connected.
Yes.
You got to be friends with Banksy.
Yes. All right. Phyllis, 1970.
Hello, Phyllis.
Thank you for having Boss Hog on. Keep us all in your prayers in Newcastle and Henry and Wayne counties.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Vic Ferrari, producer Jason, a man of many talents. Thank you. Appreciate that. Debbie Holcomb, you've got to do what you got to do, right, Producer Jason? I'm sure using your fingers was the next choice. She's talking about me using the straw as a spoon. I thought about the finger. I thought I can't sit here while Rob's on the air and use my finger. And I'm not feeling well the last couple days, so I don't know. I probably shouldn't be sticking my finger in my mouth. All right, Almond Joy Tempo at Producer Jason. I once ate romaine. Was it? How do you say that? Romaine?
Romaine lettuce.
Ramen.
Ramen noodles.
Ramen. That's it.
Romaine lettuce ramen noodles.
I don't think I've ever had ramen noodles.
Really?
I've never been that poor. Not that Almond Joy Tempo's poor.
I'm certainly not rich, but I don't think I'm poor.
I just never. I don't know. I'm not a noodle guy.
My wife eats them all the time.
Yeah. I once ate ramen with 2 coffee stirrers because I was at work and forgot my chopsticks. I can't use chopsticks either.
I've never used chopsticks.
I can't use chopsticks unless I use them like a fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Chris Chafin, Kendall's KO of the Hulkster. Debbie Holcomb. At least it wasn't Peyton. That's why I don't leave Peyton there, because I knew Peyton's already got a broken finger. Poor guy, can't play. I knew Rob would knock him off the stand if I kept him there too much longer.
All right, about 2 more minutes, and then I got to get ready to go do my thing.
Well, we got a Bob Kendall thing going.
Oh, okay,
on, right?
very good.
Bob,
go through it.
The alter ego of Rob Kendall is Bob Kendall, thanks to Micah Beckwith's letter. Driver, Bob Kendall eats from Burger King instead of Arby's. He doesn't use coupons. Driver, Bob Kendall is so vile he opens his own mail and his neighbor's mail, not because it's a felony, but because he likes to do it.
That's great.
Driver also, Bob Kendall will tell the ladies at Broad Ripple he was the owner of Burger King, call them BKs like himself, and offer to get them Whopper meals after a night of drinks. It's all dining and dashing.
We had a little scheme going on for a while. I'm not proud of it now as an older person, but me and my buddies had a little scheme set up where there was a very prominent bar in Broad Ripple, and the bartenders were kind of in on it with us, where they would make sure I got the corner seat, and we would convince people that I was the actual mayor of Broad Ripple. And of course, obviously, like as a local government, when I was elected, I knew enough to say enough stuff, right, about Broad Ripple and how it worked, that we would convince people the mayor is here, so you guys better be on your best behavior.
Were you able to pull with that shtick?
Look, I couldn't go all the way with it, right? Eventually, you got to have some honesty, but it was a great opener, right?
Right.
You get 20, 30 minutes in before you
okay. Spray jockey, Bob Kendall is a White Castle guy. Josh Richardson, Bob Kendall drinks Tab soda and likes it.
Tab is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
They made a comeback a few years ago.
Okay. Chris Ward, Bob Kendall washes his own shirts. Let's see. Driver, Bob Kendall was in business to make money, got bored, and went into government office. He runs the Hoosier Lottery now.
All the stuff, these guys pay attention.
It's not true. Josh Richardson, Bob Kendall lets Diego sit on his shoulders at concerts so he can see the stage.
All right, we got to wrap it up.
Okay. So a couple here. Driver, thank you, John Rust and Black Sheep. Kevin Branham, thank you, John Rust, for the 3rd hour. Debbie Holcomb, can't wait to see you at Rust's palatial estate. Josh Richardson, thank you, Mr. Rust. Schwag Sandwich. I just emailed John Rust with all the activities going on. This might be an excellent event to live paint. Yes, she can paint us. Chris Chapin, thanks to John Rust for hour 3. The Old Man 68, thanks to John Rust for hour 3 of the Rob Kendall Show. Ethan Hatcher, in Rust We Trust. Christy Avery, thanks for sponsoring hour 3, John. John Rust has a lot of fans.
Big fans.
There we go.
We love John Rust.
And it goes on and on and on like that. So, John, you are very much loved by all, including us. And that'll, points. Sorry.
Yeah, you do your points.
Points. You got off on some stories there and took my time away.
Oh, my gosh. You went for 35 minutes.
Well, I'm saying it's a lively chat, even for a Friday. Number 11 and number 10, Bartelt Farms and the Old Man, 250 points. 275 points for Steve Green, number 9. 300 points for Sue Seifert. 425 points for Spray Jockey at number 7. 475 points for Driver at number 6. 525 for Chris Chafin. 550 for Kevin Branham at number 4. Josh Richardson, 675 points at number 3, up to 750 points. Rusty B, Rusted Bolt Garage, number 2. And number 1, again, MLM Warriors, 825 points. Producer Jason, number 17, with 150 points, but that was 17th out of 47 people.
It's pretty good.
Anthony, Gary Dwell, Indy Dwell, bringing up the rear with 5 points.
Good job, Anthony.
He got in there.
Thanks for all the sponsorship,
all right, guys,
man.
That'll do it for me.
You earned those 5 points.
There we go. Have a great weekend. I promise that the chat will be up at 6 p.m. this evening.
We'll see you guys Monday.
See you
Spencer Deary, state senator, scheduled to be our guest. So that should be a very fun, lively interview. We'll look forward to that Monday. You guys have an awesome weekend. Take care of yourself. Stay safe out there. Check on your neighbors. And we will see you right back here Monday, 9 until noon. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.